Okay. Everyone, I'm going to call this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission to order. It's Thursday, February 16th at 1:02 p.m. Present, Abby Camp, John McLaughlin, myself, Ray Pohl, Matthew Kunert, Val Oliver, Diane Coombs, and Steve just walked in. Steve, remind me of your last name. I'm so sorry. Stephen Welch. Yes. Stephen.
Forgot your name, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm new to this. Okay. So, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor of Diane's motion to approve this agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public comment. Hearing none. We'll move along. I should remind everyone at this time, if you plan to record this meeting, let us know in advance. It's being recorded right now. So we have one consent item today. Would anyone care to make a motion to approve that one consent item?
So moved. What color did we go to?
I don't know.
I think it was gray. They had red sash. They go into a gray sash to match the trim. And then they wanted to change the door from red to Essex green. That was the application. Yeah. No concerns.
Sounds good. Okay. So, Diane, you had made a motion to approve that?
Yes.
All those in favor of Diane's motion?
We
Aye.
have to pick an alternate to sit, right?
Oh, yes. Stephen, do you mind being the alternate?
Happy to. And I will vote in the affirmative.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, we are now on views to be heard, and my firm is doing the first two, so I'm going to need to recuse. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Diane Coombs to chair this one.
Alrighty.
So then I guess you and I will
Yes.
sit on it and we'll just go
Do
in a
you
circle.
have?
Sure.
Stephen,
Kathy's getting
we're just going to go in a circle.
Who's sitting on this one, you and Matt?
Me and Matthew.
Matthews, do you want to read what ASAB has to say?
Sure. The Historic Structures Advisory Board reviewed the application for proposed demolition at 130A Main Street. The property is listed as being non-contributing in the designation report for the state and federal historic districts. So the advisory board recommends that this be a move/demo.
That would be
Okay.
great.
And, hey, Lisa.
I don't have anything to add. I mean, I guess we just have to put move/demo. It's right now checked only as demo.
Right, in our little group, is this the picture of the building?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is it,
Johnny, this is the building.
to be removed.
I figured we'd look at the new building before we look at the demolition.
Oh,
You should comment, that's what we usually do. So.
I don't think we did that
Anyway.
anymore.
Okay, we'll look at it.
Well, it's in as demolition for number one, so we better stick with that at the moment. So, can I have a vote for making it a move demolition rather than just straight move?
Rather than straight demo.
I mean,
Right.
rather than a straight demo?
Yeah.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So it looks like it is a full board agreeing. So next is the,
The house to replace it with. And I know you guys are familiar with the site because of the project that's happening right in front.
Who's that?
What's the guy's name? Ray, what's that guy's name? Yeah. Thank you. All yours.
yeah, we've been doing 130 Main Street
For a while.
for a while.
Yeah. So this is, as you know, these three lots used to be condominiums. condominiums, and now they're single, they're, separate lots.
They're all separate lots?
They're all separate lots. So our client who owned that cottage, was hoping to build a new house on his new lot. And given the site, the architecture, I think we were thinking that it would be nice to use sort of a cottage Victorian style building that's there. We were originally thinking a Greek revival, but then we thought because of the site shape that the additive massing was a little bit more, lended itself more to more of a cottage Victorian style.
That's Main Street. So there's north.
I don't know.
North is
North is Main
will be
Street.
facing the street, right?
I wasn't around for the new building that buildings Mark got approved. What relationship to size, how is this?
I think there are some comments. You
Yeah.
need to have comments.
Yeah, the Historic Structures Advisory Board reviewed the proposed new design and just had a few comments. Overall, we thought that the proposed design was appropriate for the location. We just had 2 comments. We thought that the proposed window well on the east elevation was much too large and preferred having no more than 2 window openings per well. And then we felt that because this is in the OHD, that there should be TDLs only and not SDLs.
Right. And that's it. All right, so, Lisa,
So thank you, Matthew. I think those are good comments. I think the concern or the thoughts with the SDLs is because it's so far back, certainly the 3 sides of this building are going to be impossible to see from a public way. And I think Mark Miller did get some SDLs approved on the back of his house. Almost positive.
unfortunately, it happened long enough ago that I can't remember, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just as clarification, Mark Norris's place is Trent. We approved true divided light on the front facade and simulated divided light on the sides and the back.
And thinking that this is behind that and then so close to all the other setbacks that certainly on those sides in the rear, we were hoping to get the SDLs. And I would even say at the front, I just don't and I know we've had this conversation before, I don't see how anybody would know the difference from Main Street between an SDL and given the distance off the road. And then the window well again, I would just suggest just because of lack of visibility again. I know it would be it's not a visible element being underground.
It's on the east side, right?
Yes.
And that's way off the street,
It is right next to a fence. Yeah.
right here.
All right, who is my,
Abby,
Alternate?
alternate today?
I think both of us.
Okay,
so-
so we'll start with Abby.
Well, I meant to get over there today, and I got bogged down, but, Stephen has this nifty thing here, and, I can see that the other building on the site is a federal style?
The one in front?
Yeah, with the gray.
Yeah, I think Norris is,
I haven't seen Mark Norris's. No,
that-
that's not it.
That's not it?
There's a new building going up in front.
Yeah,
yeah, there's no building on the site.
Mark Norris's
No, the demo is a one-story building.
Yeah,
I'll show you.
That's-
Bay with the side,
it's that site?
it's
Yeah,
behind
it's
it.
Sorry.
behind that. This is the cottage that got
Yeah.
approved to demo.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Right,
So
so,
there's a driveway you drive up.
Okay.
And
yeah.
It's sort of a cluster of buildings. Mark Norris's is the one that is right on Main Street, and then there's 2 behind. So this is the one that's under construction now, I believe. It's
Yeah,
under
yeah, yeah.
construction.
So that's a little, we made that a federal
Yes.
style house, sort of
Yeah,
a small
but it's a new
federal.
one,
Okay,
and then this is behind it.
yeah. All right, yeah, that side of the street has more mixed architectures. I've
Bibles and,
seen that, yeah.
Google's got to update.
Well,
They don't get the 130A,
Yeah.
yeah, part of the.
Okay, so I was going to say, I thought it should be a federal style, but there's more of a mix over there, so, I'm fine with this farmhouse kind of architecture. Somebody asked me my opinion?
Okay,
Yeah.
Johnny, you're next.
Yes, I have one thing about the cardinal point seems to be off a little, but that's minor. North elevation,
Yes.
which is highly visible with the road, and the door, that's the front door, that should be a 6-panel door.
Okay.
Take it.
All right. Matt?
I don't have very much to add. I think I would like to see TDLs on the north elevation. And if it's possible to update sheet L 1.1. Right now, the existing structure at 130, at 130 Main Street, it's the footprint for that's the
Yeah.
footprint for the building that was just demolished.
That's right.
So it's hard for me to really evaluate the placement of this new proposed building at the rear. Could you just revise that and put in the footprint for the new building that's been approved? And aside from that, I don't really have any additional comments.
All right.
I think it's appropriate. I also think maybe the front facade should have the TDLs just so we have some kind of consistent process. And I think the door could be a 4-panel if it has to be solid, so it matches the windows. But I don't mind this door.
Great. The, my thought on the, TDLs is in the fact that it is in the old historic district, and it says that windows in the old historic district should be TDLs, that if you follow that on the front facade, it would be better, because
Okay.
I think the more times you erode, that thing we'll lose it, and that would be unfortunate. I don't think you're gonna see the window well. Do you have any air conditioning,
We haven't gone to that point. I think
I didn't see any. And I
we don't
didn't-
have them shown at this point. We'll have to either come back for those, or they'll have to try to do a geothermal system of some kind.
When they put in the pool.
And the
the
swing
roof.
set and all
Just
the.
kidding. Can I add to my, now that I've taken on in a little bit more, Bert?
Yeah.
I just, the east elevation, is that, the windows look, on the, not the dormer and not
Yeah.
on the front, but they seem a little chaotic. Is there a staircase or something going on there?
On that elevation,
East.
Oh, 'cause two are up higher than
Right.
the.
Yeah,
than the-
2, and then the E seems, what's going on?
D is
right,
up
no,
and
there's no stair right there, and there is a stair in the corner, which is why the A is up higher. I think the idea with the Ds was just to, that's gonna be the wall that they're looking at with the TV, and just, they didn't really see because they're gonna be looking at a fence, there's really no point of having big windows there. So they were just trying to use the upper sash.
Yeah,
The E could certainly be changed to something that's.
Yeah, it's
The E maybe?
and nothing's really lining up.
It's the lining up, I think, that's throwing it. If you could either bring those down or bring the E up.
Right, the head heights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
what-
see that.
And the D moving over just a little bit, so it
Yeah,
was under
could
the
it-
center window on the second floor.
Well, that shifts it a lot. I mean, it seems like that'll hurt the plan a little bit. But we can certainly look at that.
Well,
I
give
mean,
it,
I don't have a problem
give
looking
it
at
a
that.
try, maybe it works.
Mhm.
Okay. Are there any other comments anybody would like to add, whether you're sitting on it or not?
No, I think the little corners, the little A windows that are in the corner, it's quirky, like an old house would be quirky, and that's,
Right, I don't mind those.
yeah.
It's,
So,
yeah.
do we want to have a motion for small revision so we can see the plot plan and the windows, or do you want, approve it through staff.
Could approve it through staff, unless, Matthew, do you wanna see the footprint?
No, I think they'd be fine just to
Okay.
issue a revised site plan.
Okay.
So why don't we, I'll make a motion to approve this with a revised site plan, TDLs on the north elevation, either a 4 or 6 panel front door to be approved through staff, and then on the east elevation, updating the windows on the east elevation so that the head heights are even. That's my motion.
Alrighty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, that passes.
Thank you very much.
Nancy Mousy.
Alright.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have one comment.
Yes,
To Lisa, in the
Yes.
future, when you come in for air conditioning issue, would you, the only place you can put them
I
is in
know.
the back, in the setback wall, just in the north side.
I know.
Because all the rest of the
It's
windows,
very tight.
work it out.
Hopefully they'll use geothermal and we won't have to deal with that.
Oh, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next up, 8 Nicanus. Nathan. There you are. This is what we just reviewed.
You approved it. So why is it back in here?
I don't know.
Higher fence.
Higher fence, correct.
That is here.
Is there
There's
anything
no
so
site.
it's you and Steve.
more than just these 2 photos, Nathan?
So this is the school.
The site plan,
Is there a site plan? Oh,
There is.
I'm sorry, here it is. Okay,
And then you go down.
yeah, may I?
please.
On Tuesday, you had consented some revisions to the main dwelling, and thank you for that. The owners wished then to revisit the fence, which was approved about a year ago, to 6 feet, back to 7, which matches existing. And the reason we got here in the first place was we were asking extensions to that fence all the way out to the street. And then they backed it off to existing, and it went about being approved for 6 feet high. And they thought they would like to try once again for 7, since that is the existing height. So it's about halfway down the west property line and all the way across the south property line. And it matches existing in terms of design. Jamie Cabral was here the other night, couldn't be here today, but he just wanted to testify that throughout the subdivision there are lots of 7-foot high fences, whether that's for what it's worth.
Do we have a picture of it?
He
I
does.
just submitted that.
So this is where you're not going out to Nicanus,
Not anymore.
and you wanted it at 7 feet, not
To match
6 feet with a,
to match existing. I put a tape on one of those photos showing that it's,
are there any other 7-foot fences around?
there
Yeah,
are.
that's what he's
there are.
saying, that it's matching the
Jamie
existing.
knows more about them than I, but he says they're all over the subdivision. I said, well, HDC doesn't really count that they're everywhere. They might have been pre-HDC in that area, but they are there, whether they're approved or not. And for what it's worth.
Thanks.
It's got the board and then it's got the lattice
That's
above.
correct. The last 18 inches,
Is-
12 inches.
Is lattice.
The last 18 inches, definitely.
I think if it's matching existing and the fact that it's the back and the rear half of one side,
So,
I don't mind.
thank you. Just so that I'm clear, there's the existing fence. I'm presuming this is the west side.
Correct.
Okay? And so right now, does it basically extend out to the street?
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't?
That extends like the site plan shows. What happened, Ray, was the back area fell down,
Yeah.
so that's why it's not connected to the south. It fell down and they haven't rebuilt it yet.
Okay. So are we basically looking to rebuild it right back to this point, the same point?
No, all the way back to the south. So you're looking at the west,
Yeah,
and your left hand is where it starts,
right.
back to the south, and then turn the corner all the way across the south. That's, on the site plan, you see it.
Yeah. And then how far is it held back off of the street? The property line?
About halfway, I believe, probably 80 feet.
Does
So
it go back?
I do show it on their dash dot line.
55, 70.
Okay, so just to be clear on this one, everybody, if you look at the site plan, the
right here.
fence doesn't really start on the property until midway past the house. It's not going up to the street. It starts there, goes back, and goes along the back property line.
But it starts just a little south of the elbow.
Correct.
Right.
That's
And
right.
is it natural, Nathan?
Yeah, it is natural weather.
Okay.
You're okay? All right, so Abby's okay, Val's okay. Oh, I forgot to ask, who's our alternate on this one? Oh,
I guess
you are,
it's
Val.
Steve.
Well, I will, Steve is the voter. I just added my 2 cents.
Oh, okay, so,
So just to clarify, the fence that you're proposing is to replace the existing
That's right.
neighbors that's dilapidated and fell down.
That, as well as the existing that remains.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I have some experience in this area. These are a 5-foot board, 2-foot lattice, and then the lattice is within a panel that has a, can't see the full 2-foot lattice. There's a frame of cedar so that it appears more like 18 inches.
Right.
I mean, just so you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I would have no concerns. It's matching existing, to replace existing, and I wouldn't see an issue with it.
thank you, Stephen. John?
I have one comment. Next time you come in, mark where it's going.
The locust
Locust
plan is
plan.
really
I
tiny.
didn't have it marked, the house, and I didn't know where.
No, it must have gotten erased.
Big red,
Well, it shows up like as a little gray line, but everything's so small, it's hard to pick out.
bring in a big one, if you find it.
All right.
I have no problem. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Well, let's see, Diane, did you have any questions, comments?
No, I think as long as it matches and we follow the same fence, it'll be fine.
Okay, good. So we have a motion on the table to approve this as submitted. All those in favor of Abby's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
That was
very much.
unanimous, thank you. Next up, Crooked Lane, Mark Lombardi, 32 Crooked Lane. And what's our rotation? So Stephen, you just went,
Now it's
Matthew, it's
Matthew.
you, and Matthew, of course, you will sit on all 3 of these applications. Okay?
Very good.
Matthew.
Did you ever bring back the other one?
That,
That we were
Matthew's
looking
the
at
alternate.
That's for the staff.
the hollow area? Weren't you-
Yeah, those on Wing Street. Is that the one you're talking
Yeah.
Yeah.
about? Here's some recent photos of this
Thanks.
particular home. So,
Yeah.
what are you gonna start off with?
Oh,
Guess it goes down to Diane.
there you go, baby.
Garage studio? Okay.
Used to be a little-
Is this the house TJ did? The house came down and then came back up?
Oh, yeah, Crooked Lane.
Yeah.
It's already cramped. There goes-
red
there
pen
goes
is
the cupola.
flying.
There goes the cupola. I did that for you, John.
Consistency.
There you go. That's actual Brosco. You know, ready-made cupola.
It is?
Yeah, it's the biggest one they sell, 48-incher. Just a vent.
25. Okay.
I'm not with it today.
Has everyone had a chance to digest this?
Not over here.
No, not yet. Okay. Oh, I should look. So there's Crooked Lane, there's the house. This is going back there. You know this house, right? Anybody ready to start?
Yeah,
Okay, John.
yeah, I think there's some nice design, I think the cupola should disappear. It's not a problem.
Got it.
That's my comment, thank you.
Okay.
Speaker, I can add,
Yes, please, Diane.
I'd like to see it brought down, it's 25 feet. And it should be 24 feet if it is a garage with an apartment above.
Okay.
On the south elevation, that's not going to be seen, right? No,
South is not. Yeah.
It's behind, kind of hidden by the house, Diane.
right,
This is the only structure, excuse me, that you can really see from the street.
is,
You can see it when you look up the driveway, you'll be able to see the door, you know, that one west elevation, I believe.
okay. No, I just thought that perhaps, and this is not something I usually say because I like big windows, I just was wondering whether those windows in the south elevation, the sea windows,
Too big?
just a hint too big.
Okay.
Or change them to A's.
Oh, that's what I meant,
Yeah.
is to go like the
Guys,
A.
the reason being was because there's, if you saw the landscape plan, a lot of visual looking out towards the pool area, towards the cabana area, and that's why we're trying to, and that was gonna be more of an exercise floor than a garage, but.
If they can be,
Those are
if
also
they can be longer then,
preference, yeah.
because they're kind of
Squatty,
squatty.
okay, we can change that,
Yeah.
narrow them up, not a
They
problem.
kind of,
Sorry, what are you
Well,
guys talking
The
about?
C windows need
Oh,
to have a
oh.
different pane configuration, either
They're
they're
really wide,
longer
yeah.
or they change to A's, which is a good dimension.
yeah, I might suggest that on all the Cs, is to make them A's.
A's, okay.
And I don't know if it's going to be an exercise on the first floor and stuff, you might want to have two windows on the first floor rather than just a single.
There was a stairway situation there, and that's why we have that single in the back.
And that's,
Right.
Diane, that's literally in the back of the building.
Right.
Or I should say on the back of the property.
Right,
So we can't see it, but anyway, that's what my suggestion.
okay. It's easy enough. This is replicating the house. I mean, this,
Yeah.
that elevation is a dead ringer to one of the elevations of the house.
It's cute.
I have nothing to add.
Well, yeah, I just,
So, I've heard three things. One, the cupola. So I'd like to get a sense from the board about the cupola. I think that, Mark, you've already agreed to changing the windows from Cs to As.
Not a problem.
yeah,
Okay,
there's
so-
a problem with the A's, there are two A's, and I like the bigger ones. They're on,
There's two different types of As.
yeah,
Oh, there-
west
there are.
elevation has one dimension
Drafting.
She's right.
and north. But, I prefer the bigger ones on the north elevation, if that's possible, to do those.
Yeah, I
You
don't,
want the
the bigger A's
bigger A's.
is fine.
You see how
Okay,
these
As
are
long as
a
you're
larger.
gotcha.
more vertical than horizontal,
You like a
Yeah.
more,
whatever size that is.
it's the Italian in me, you know?
You don't have to climb through it.
Okay, so
you can say
that I think we can deal with. And then the third item was the height at 25 feet.
Yeah.
Now, because you don't have any dormers on the second floor, it would be a relatively easy thing for you to take essentially the top cord and drop it down a little
Not a
bit.
problem.
Not a problem. Okay.
All right, yeah.
So I think that we could probably do an approval with some conditions.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
somebody's willing to craft a motion for me.
Craft.
You want,
You
what
wanna
have we
craft
decided
a
about the
motion?
cupola?
I don't love the cupola myself.
I think it's,
That's
yeah,
not to say a cupola wouldn't be appropriate on this, but this
Right,
one is
but-
wonky.
it's kind of,
It's big and
overpowered.
Yeah,
I
very
think it's a little
overpowering.
cleaner without.
All right, well, why don't I try drafting a motion?
Sure.
My motion is to approve this with the following conditions. That the cupola be admitted, that the height of the building be brought down to 24 feet, that the drawings be revised so that all of the A windows are the larger A type that's shown, and that the C windows are replaced with that larger A type.
Got it. That's not bad, Jim, right?
That's good.
All right.
Yes, John?
I know, sir, there's no second floor plan.
There is no second floor plan.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to be clear, your motion is to omit the cupola.
Correct.
Okay.
He could
So,
submit another time for a
Right.
different one.
right. I think, we'll approve it without the cupola right now, but I think that if you come back with a more modest one and we can actually see the drawings, I think that would be.
There are smaller ones, prefab.
Is
Cedar.
that the consensus of the board?
Well,
You're
John-
speaking on it. I'm not speaking on it.
we are approving it, the motion that Matthew just made is to approve it, but without the cupola,
Right.
Height's not a
Right.
big deal at all.
okay?
Then you
I
add
can
it back,
lose a
right
foot
and back.
easily.
Well, he said he might come back,
Yeah.
so
Might.
we'll see. Anyway,
All in favor?
all in favor of Matthew's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's that. We now have a pool house. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks.
Does anyone build houses anymore without pools?
It says in the new laws they have to build a pool.
Right.
Again, we're trying to replicate the main house, and there is some hip action on the main house as well. This building, I don't think you're going to be able to see unless you're in a box truck on top of it, because it's directly behind the building, the main house, and it's small in height, that is.
Okay. Thanks. Comments from the board? Anyone ready?
That comment looks fine. Most of it's hidden anyway.
Okay, well, I agree, yeah, it's behind the building. Okay, so John thinks it looks fine. Anyone else?
Can I ask an architectural question, because I'm not real sure about this, but should this be a shallower pitch on the hip, or is that just my imagination?
The pitch could certainly be shallower. Now, the question is, do you have hips on the existing house?
Yeah, the existing house is, gambrel off the front, and then it's like a U-shaped house. And those
Mhm.
one-story additions that
Come up
make
sharp.
the U are hips. So
And
we-
what,
And
do you
they're
know
10
what,
and 12,
um,
They're tens.
they're tens?
Tens.
which
I-
is what this is.
I think, oh,
Again, I was trying to mimic the main
Yeah.
house, but I think it's much. I like that look. It's a little more Asian, Actually, it's kind of neat for a pool house to have it a little splayed out more. That's not a problem.
Well,
I think it should match the,
when you say splayed out, are you suggesting doing it
Reducing the
both?
hip, maybe to 6, or maybe that could be, a 6 or a 5 or something.
Okay,
If that's a problem, we can fix it.
well, let's see what everyone else thinks.
I don't have any concerns. There's really limited visibility here.
Agreed. Diane?
I don't have any problems because I think the visibility will be nil. No.
So, in terms of the pitch of the hip roof, ordinarily they are less than 10.
I was trying to pick it up because that's where the outdoor shower started, and that's where the bar started. When you looked up, that's when it happened. on these individual rooms. If you notice, that's the way that that's why they're a little bit sharper, because I was keeping them 6 feet in. It was more of a per room decision with the roof line.
Well, Abby, for me, it's two things. One is, if they already have 10 and 12s on the back pieces on the house, it would make sense architecturally to match that. The second thing is, I don't think you're going to see any of this.
Absolutely, okay.
Okay, so does somebody want to make a motion on this?
I will make the comment that the hip on it, this way where it's so long, the hip brings your eye down instead of looking up. For advantage.
Thank you, John.
Thank
So you made a motion to approve as submitted, right?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor of John's motion to approve as submitted?
Aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous, folks. All right. And now we're going to look at our hardscape pool.
Yeah, Big Springs. Yeah, there's no way of doing it. They have to be so close, unless you lock it next to it, you know.
Mark, why don't you walk us through this? Just
Okay,
an overview?
again, visibility, starting when you step out the deck of the main house, there's gonna be a small little fireplace there, fire pit. And, you know, that's gonna look somewhat like this. You're not gonna see it, but
How tall is it?
it's gonna be about 18 to 24 inches, probably 18 inches. And you won't be able to see it if you come beyond the house. Then as you walk around the pool, it's gonna be bluestone decking with bluestone coping. That is going to go around the spa. There's gonna be a raised spa, 18 inches. There'll be a waterfall off that spa. There's going to be,
The waterfall into the pool, right?
goes into the pool.
18 inches?
18 inches raised up, that way so you can sit down and negotiate as you go into the spa from the decking. And we're changing to mahogany flooring when you go into the cabana, God bless you. And the bluestone will go underneath the porch where the outdoor kitchen area is going to be. And it's just your average 18 by 45 foot pool with a bluestone deck.
Okay, so now if you could give us a concentration on the fencing around the pool, and also, it looks like you're requesting a gate going into the property.
To get into the garage area, we're going to do
Oh, so that's set back.
that setback. It's kind of creating like a little lane there with a
Yep.
grass strip in the middle. And that's a self-closing cattle gate. You know, it's just natural cedar. And we're going to have privet with the black, almost invisible fencing there in between it. You've seen that a lot. The pool fencing sandwiched between the privet, and that's pretty much around the entire pool area. And there's only one other gate, I believe it's on the other side. Again, reinforcing anybody seeing in with privet hedging. That'll be allowed to grow about 5-6 feet high.
This, that gate.
Where are the AC units? Or the,
They are on the northern elevation. They're not
Yeah,
drawn
they're
on.
not on here.
Yeah, but on.
or you have a square over here for pool equipment?
Well, that pool equipment, yeah, that's on the,
That's where the pool equipment building is, in privet hedge. But on the house itself, we're gonna look at a pad right over here.
Can this move forward and it's behind that? Right? Or you have to put a fence?
pardon me?
If the AC units are over here, you have to screen those somehow?
Well, the AC units have improved on the other home application.
Because they were on the home doesn't mean they're approved, right? It's usually on a separate application?
Yeah, this is the hardscape for the whole place, is it not?
It is, yes. Okay, so we're talking about the air conditioning units for the house, the main house, okay?
For wherever air conditioning units are gonna be, on
Okay.
either house or wherever, we just need to
Okay,
know where they are.
Gotcha,
And then how they're screened.
okay.
We were gonna do just a little cedar enclosure around them,
Right,
and they were gonna be on the side of the house where I showed.
yes.
So are they shown on this plan?
They're
No.
on the north,
I'll show you, right.
Crooked Lane was east and west, so they're on the north side of the
Are they,
house.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention to the main house at all.
Can you just
Just copied off.
can you just move this fence and gate enclosure so that it's towards Crooked Lane and in front of the AC units?
Gate enclosure in front of Crooked Lane.
So
Let's see what
this,
that-
So if you're proposing to put the AC units here,
Like 6
just
feet
move
forward.
this
Oh, I see what you're saying.
forward of them.
Sure.
And the
Change
fence
that.
is doing double duty.
That way you're screening everything from the road. Gotcha. Now, the pool equipment's in that corner. We have a lot of equipment on this thing because there is a spa, there's gonna be 2 heaters. We have to give some generous room. Setback issues pull me in 10 feet on each side. So I've got it screened off back in that corner. You never see it.
nobody's concerned about that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just that he's-
yeah.
With the, putting the compressors.
Gotcha. Just moving the fence back. That's easy enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
Moving the fence to the west.
Sure. It's a great idea.
That little driveway where your big gate is,
Yeah.
I can't remember, what goes down the side of the property?
Well, this lot, had a home on it before,
Right.
and everything was cleared. We did not clear any existing material there.
Right,
So it was just an open lawn area, I believe, at one point. That driveway coming in, and I showed it on the plan, I have a Belgian block apron. There may have to be some retention on the sides because it's got a really kind of a nasty slope going up. And I wanted to cut the slope down, and I may have to retain on the sides. So I show there some antique curbing that I may retain a little bit as you come in. It's just a little side note there.
Where is that, Mark?
Right at the apron coming in.
It's the left-hand most note on the site plan. It says
Yeah.
explore antique curbing.
Explore antique curbing.
to
What I mean by
retain
explore is
grade
because I
upgrade.
don't want the ramp to be like this, so if I have to cut the ramp and the grade has to stay, I may have a little bit of, antique curbing. I have these really old curbings that are really nice. It'll look nice with the...
You're saying that the slope up to the lot is rather steep.
That's right.
So the curbing would actually allow the drive-in to
Exactly.
be less.
Less of a slope.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going up, you're looking at the stars coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and without ripping down all the grades everywhere. So
so this antique curbing, isn't it usually around 12 inches high?
12 to 18 inches high, but I'd like to do like about 12 inches, just to cut down a little bit. And it helps, keep the cars and kick them back in play, right?
Do you want that, do you want us to make a motion that includes the curbing? And then if you don't need it, we can take it out, or do
Sure.
you want us to leave it
I'd
out?
like to get that approved in case we do. I think we are going to need it, so.
So then we should just strike the word explore.
Or
Right.
explore.
Um,
And it's on the application, too. I wrote it on the application.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Abby, you had a
So
comment.
I have sort of an important thing to me about Crooked Lane, that it is a rural
I agree.
setting. And I'm thinking that I don't mind the privet with the way you've enclosed the pool, but I think for the front of the house, that the privet coming across is starting a new precedence for Crooked Lane, where it's mostly...
It's existing there.
Well, I see that,
It
but
is.
it's sort of overgrown and more naturalistic.
Right.
And I think as soon as we start to sort of,
I see what you're saying.
if there was a more naturalistic approach to the front of the house.
Well, the problem is the way I got the driveway layout. It comes really right up to the property line. It's tight there. To have a natural planting, I need to have something that's going to be relatively thin and, maintained.
I'm just talking about the front of
The
the,
Right.
front,
crooked,
not
where it
the-
fronts Crooked Lane.
Right.
So
Well, that's
then
where
we-
the
So what
driveway.
Mark is saying,
Yeah.
if I can paraphrase,
Mhm.
Sure.
if you look at the amount of space between where he has his parking right in
Right.
front of the house
Mm-hmm.
and the property line, there's like a very thin strip. And
Very
so
thin.
what Mark is saying, the privet is really good at being a relatively relatively dense, opaque vegetation, that doesn't take up that much width. Because he's really not allowed to be parking on that area to the left, because that's town property.
That
And it's a
says
slow-
lawn.
But it's
Right.
town property.
That's right,
It's not
it's
yours.
eminent domain there, that's lost
Yeah.
land.
Perhaps you could curtail the privet to start back at where you're trying to hide the parking, instead of having it coming all the way across. Is there an apron there now going in?
Was there an existing curb cut there? Or we're at the existing curb cut, aren't we? I think we're using the existing curb cut there. Everything's pretty much there, yeah?
It drives on the other side.
Oh, it was on the other side? Okay.
And it was just dirt,
It's
right?
just dirt, yeah. But you've got that little, it's just a little knoll, basically. You know, the road comes in and then you've got to get over this little hump. And that's where we want to try and delineate.
Well, what I'm trying to, my point is that it seems a prim and proper, and Crooked Lane is sort of naturalistic, so.
I agree.
It had a split rail fence before.
Yes, right, we were looking at
Hey,
it.
to
Oh, yeah.
post a rail across the front with the
Yeah.
privet?
Well,
No, no privet.
No privet.
It was just sort of natural stuff.
No.
Okay. Want to do some rambling roses on that fence?
Can I pipe in a second here?
Go.
One of the other options might be that it's not so much that privet is too formal, is that you've got the front yard is all privet that looks like it will be sheared and therefore formal.
Sure.
So what I might contribute is the concept of maybe, just using for example a particular plant material so people can visualize, is on that left side corner, you might across a portion of the front have a different massing of plants that's more informal, like a lilac or Rosa Sharon or something along those lines. It'll also cut back on your peach scale, your privet, that you're going to have Bartlett over there spraying a tremendous amount of time. But the idea being that you kind of break up that full delineation of privet that's formal if it's going to be sheared, maybe on one side, along one side, so that it's not as wide of an area of privet that's sheared.
Okay.
Or maybe you would do it in a couple of sections. It's just an idea I'm throwing out there,
Yeah, I
as
get
opposed
it.
to just putting in a
So-
different plant.
Less monolithic.
Okay, so we can scratch the privet going across the front
Right.
of Crooked Lane, and maybe I come up with something a little different. I might just go to something more natural, like,
Yeah.
bayberries and beach plums and,
Yeah, look down the
viburnums.
street as you go into the animal hospital.
Right,
This is pretty good, but it's casual.
right. I landscaped that years ago.
You did a good
Well, that's
job.
why it's good.
Yeah.
So I believe everyone has spoken on this one.
Do you want, I can make a thing,
Yeah.
is that the Bluestone Spa and the Bluestone and the fire pit will be 18 inches high.
Yes.
Right. There will be the fence on the north side, on the side of the house, will be moved 6 feet forward
To the
to
west.
Crooked Lane
Got it.
to enclose the AC units, and 12-inch antique curbing will be used on the apron.
Okay. What if you, this,
And the remove, sorry.
yeah,
Diane, you're basically creating a motion here,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So do we include the removal of the privet on the west elevation? Basically on the front property?
Well, we could. He doesn't have it specified, which is why I didn't
Oh,
add it.
It says along property line.
privet hedge on property.
Oh, all right, then we would say remove privet hedge on the front of the property to be replaced with local
Or
plant.
can I just throw one thing at you? Would you object to a freestanding two-sided rock wall? Remember we used to clear fields in those rural areas?
Not
The
on the
Connecticut
Nantucket.
wall?
Yeah,
If we were in
Look,
Pennsylvania.
I love those walls,
I
but we
know,
haven't
yeah.
really approved those in a long time.
I think the idea is to come up with a less formal
Something
Less
natural,
formal.
like you said,
instead of-
blackberry or something, or inkberry, or
Beach plum.
even privet natural, not.
Right, it's either
Privet.
gonna be I'm not gonna put when you get away from the house, I either go privet or it's naturalized, I'm not gonna start putting hydrangeas and flowering shrubs along the front of the house out there in the middle of nowhere.
Well, you got
So I'm gonna
trees
pinch
out there.
what's there, existing on the lots, have that native material just kind of come in, and then it's just going to get thinner as it gets towards the driveway. I have to come up with something, but it's going to be more of a native planting.
I would think it will sit better
Yeah.
as a new house on that scale.
So it doesn't
Try to
become
make it
Hulbert
nice.
Ave.
Right. Do you want to see
Well,
this?
no, because that's such a formal, like, closed off
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Okay.
Do you want to see this come back as a revision, or we approve it through staff?
Well, I thought sounded like we could approve this
Yeah,
through staff, just
absolutely.
as long
That's
as we
fine.
eliminated
Let's
the
get moving.
privet on the
And he
street
can,
side.
yeah, do something else.
I'll change it up.
Okay.
Okay, that's my motion.
I just want to make sure, Terry, were you able to get all the points on that motion?
Not really.
Okay. I hate to do this to you, Diane, but let's go through it again.
We are,
Adding to this, I may change
where
that
do you want me to
driveway
start,
layout,
Terry?
Because there's not enough room.
All I really got out of that, and I'm not sure I got it right, was the bluestone spot and the fire pit,
Are you
18
18 inches
inches
high?
no more than 18
No
inches?
more than 18.
You're right.
Okay, and then I got the elimination of the privet hedge along the front.
Right,
Yep.
and then you take the privet that's on the north side,
Okay, so
and you
then-
move it 6 feet further west towards the road so that you can put the air conditioning units to the east of that fence. And was there anything else?
Yeah, 12-inch curbing.
AC
Correct.
place, and the AC place where?
To the east of that fence.
That was the part I really didn't get. Elimination of the privet hedge on the front. Gotcha.
And there's 12-inch curbing going up where the curb cut is.
I think 12 inches would be plenty. I think we want it any bigger than that.
Okay, all those in favor of Diane's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, 3 Davis Lane, the BPC hour coming up. The filibuster.
Yeah.
3 Davis, move on.
Stephen, is it, or is it you, Val? Val, are you next?
It's Val. Yeah,
What? Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Val, you will sit on all 3 of the Davis applications, okay? 7, 8, and 9.
So what is this, demo?
It's a demo.
Demo move is what we'd be requesting.
Did we see this?
You haven't yet. Mark Catone representing the applicant. So this is in Cisco. It is a 1975 structure, upside-down home, existing on this lot. So we have a proposal that will come up after this to replace this structure. So it's a request either to demo or move off. We are looking into the move off now. Unfortunately, due to the height, we're being told it can't go past the rotary. So it's going to, if it lands somewhere, and hopefully it does, it's somewhere, it's going to be in the greater Cisco neighborhood or down the road.
Are these existing conditions drawings?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's, so existing house is a white trimmed, 28 feet tall. That's the issue, because of the height in terms of moving it. Power lines.
Yeah, so what Mark would like to do is demo or move off of this existing building. These are photos of that.
You built this,
No, we're just providing that as a representation of what's there. We found the drawings, the building department just
Date
included in
again,
the package for it.
75?
1975, yeah.
75.
you have an idea what you're gonna replace it with?
The application that's coming forward, a really beautiful home.
In your own unbiased.
You'll see it shortly.
Yeah.
Summit?
Yeah, go for it, John. if you're
Someone's
ready.
gonna be happy with it.
Yeah, we hope it gets recycled. It's actually in pretty good shape.
25 feet high, height. My only comment is basically is that the front door should be a 4 or 6 panel door.
This
not
is
the
what they're going to demolish.
one I'm looking at.
hope to recycle it somewhere else.
Yeah, this
In
is
other
just,
words, you want to copy the one that's there, or it's out?
No.
No, it's not a copy.
copy.
No.
That's my only comment, thank you.
All right. Abby?
I'm okay with this.
Okay. Val?
Yep. Okay.
Okay. I know
Do you have a
Diane's.
piece of land for it?
What?
Do you have a piece of land for it?
No.
That's-
She's got that pool from the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got the pool from the other night, so.
Yeah, right.
I think just put it as a demo move
Right,
instead
I
of
think
just a
we
straight
should leave
demo
that
and
as
see if
standard.
Yeah,
somebody will
that- I
take at
think
least a piece of it or
Prefer to
something.
do that. Exactly.
Hey, Diane, have you had a chance to look at this? This is a demo.
Yeah,
involved.
it's a demo move.
Right.
So, that's it, I guess. is
I'd
all.
make a motion then to,
Well, did she finish?
Yeah,
Okay.
approve as a demo move.
Okay. All those in favor of Val's motion to approve as a demo or move off?
Aye.
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 Okay.
And you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it won't
yeah.
get past the rotary?
No, we talked to the utility companies and Toscana, and due to its height, it's scaled at 25 on the drawings, but we actually went back out and we've had some people interested in the
looks
building.
taller than that.
It's
Yeah.
close to 28
So
and a
it
half
has to
feet
stay
tall.
on the town
And
side.
this, yeah, there's a
of
major
rotary.
power line that they would have to disconnect that would shut down half the island, and they're not interested in doing that.
Better
so.
than just running it right through.
Yes, very true. So,
New house.
that's correct. This is a proposal for the replacement. It's actually shorter than the existing house by about a couple feet.
Demo.
And this, and its footprint is slightly larger by about another 150 square feet.
Here on this
We're
one.
limited to 1,500 square feet of ground cover here. And the original house, of course, was a white, all-white trimmed house. This is proposed in a gray with a dark gray sash and doors and red cedar roof. And it's canted on the property, which, looking at the locus plan, is consistent with many of the homes that have actually been built more recently in that area versus being square to the road, which takes advantage of the view. So
What is
it
the
sits a little
width?
further back from the road. The overall,
Because we don't have any dimensions.
Shame.
right. Well, I can,
I wonder if they're on the floor plan.
Nope.
No, they're not.
There's zero dimensions anywhere.
they are.
What's on the application?
you have, you wanna,
It's a, did we put the overall width in the application itself? If it's not, I can give it to you.
Oh, sorry.
So that's these were it's just about 64 feet across. Total, yeah, for the footprint. And then the deck on the far left side would be in addition to that.
Oh, no, I meant
see
this
that?
way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
this is, oh, there.
With the deck.
Measure.
78 if you go porch to porch.
Yeah, that sounds right. And you can see a comparison on the site plan of the original outline of the original house compared to the new one.
This is quarter-inch scale,
Yes, it is.
so we get 26,
Yeah,
26 feet tall.
26 feet tall. The house that's there today is about 28 and a half.
Good.
A little off, yeah. It seems to be consistent in terms of ridge height with the other newer homes that were built left and right of this most recently.
The other thing to note, and this resonated with me, is the house is white trim now, the existing one, and this is going to be gray. Do either one of you over there want to continue? Comment?
On the second floor west elevation, left-hand side next to the door in the little,
Yeah,
what is that?
outdoor shower,
On the second floor.
it is. People love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bathroom behind there.
I just have two questions.
Mm-hmm.
One, what's the width of the deck on the second floor? I mean, depth?
Mm.
It looks like it's more than 8.
Your fellow board member is taking care of that.
Oh, dude. And
He
second,
got out his ruler, I knew he would.
I'm just asking in general what the depth of the second floor deck is.
Any specific?
62 feet long.
West
Oh, thank you, that's what I wanted.
and east. And is there a firebox on the second floor of that outdoor fireplace?
Not in the exterior,
Okay,
yeah.
that's it.
So this is an upside down.
It is for Cisco, yeah.
I think it's pretty nicely filled for there.
Diane? Ready?
It's just, I don't think I've seen too many outdoor showers on the second floor. But I don't think it's architecturally bad there.
It's pretty, the back of this is fairly well screened. I think it's from Westerwick. You might see this from, but it's at a good distance at that point
Right.
from the road.
It's just, it's not too much tall planting around. Most of it's
True.
lower, so you,
They're actually, fortunate for this lot, there are some mature plantings at the back of the lot, which we have Bracken survey, which will be saved. They actually don't plan to clear the back portion of the lot, for what that's worth, but because there is limited vegetation, they kind of like what is there, because it makes it feel more natural.
yeah, it's what grows
Yeah,
there.
nothing's really tall out
Yeah.
there.
Agreed.
And
So,
it's that's natural, right?
yeah.
Yes, it is, natural weather.
So I don't at the moment have any major problem with what is here,
Okay.
except the B windows are a little fat.
Really?
This,
Yeah.
It's drawn differently in 2
They're
places.
shorter than the A's, but they're.
which one do you, oh, yeah.
That's a
That's
fat B and this is a skinny
Thin.
B.
Oh, yeah, you're right, that should be a different, I think
So
it's a different
you
window
do
type
the
there.
skinny Bs?
I would just skinny up the big
Yeah.
Bs,
Okay.
yeah.
You know what it is, Mark? You've got
Yeah.
2 windows
It's,
marked
they're labeled the
B.
same way, that's what it was, yeah, it should be like a C
The-
or something.
So the shorter one is the one that we're concerned with,
Yes.
right?
Right.
The ones on the front.
So they might be a C?
Yeah, I would just narrow that up
Just narrow it
dimensionally.
down a little bit.
Okay. John, I know
Yeah.
you have some comments.
I had one comment, basically, I think the height is okay for the area, there's a couple other tall ones up there. My other comment is that the front door on the east elevation,
Yes.
is on a pattern door.
I was going to, it's basically a channel grooved door, so it has the look of that. It's not true batten, but it gives the look of that. Yeah, just something very simple, no glass in it.
Well, I'm just curious.
Yeah. And it'll be a dark gray.
You're okay with the decks and all that? You measure the decks and they all are okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
62 feet long and 28 feet high.
26 feet, I think, yeah.
Abby?
I like the design very much. I was just wondering about the connectors. Are those, is that shingle?
It is shingled, yes, yep.
Okay, you just didn't.
Yeah, we
put it
just
into- Yeah,
shattered it.
got it.
for dimension.
I like this design very much, thank you.
The only thing I'll say, this is the first time I've ever seen a main ridge that I think is actually too short.
That's the one.
20-foot main mast, yeah.
I mean, I'd rather too short than too long,
Yeah.
so you can't have everything all the time. So it sounds like we're pretty much good to go with a couple of minor changes. We're going to change the window,
Yeah,
right?
we can we'll change the proportions of the B window so it's more narrow.
Correct. Does anyone, so it doesn't sound like anyone has anything to add to that.
No.
Can that be done through
I think
staff?
it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yes. Motion to
Okay.
approve through staff with narrowing the B window.
We have dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do
that'd
that.
be
Well,
nice.
Hey,
yeah.
now, that's a good idea, thank you. Did you want to add that into your motion?
To have dimensions on the drawings?
Yeah,
Yes. Add that.
Great.
and
Okay.
the B windows being fixed.
Yeah, she's got that. Okay, all those in favor of Abby's motion?
Aye.
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 Thanks. Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, 16 Wynn Street.
Oh, no, we have a shed.
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
little
I'm
shed on
sorry,
this property.
sorry. Yes.
I know, it's best to move here.
This is the shed for the same property.
All colors to match.
You know what John's gonna ask you.
Yeah, I
Is
do
the
too.
A window fixed?
Yeah, there's actually no reason to open it. We just added it to fenestrate the elevation.
I think it's approvable.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Motion
John?
to
Oh,
approve?
hold on. What, you good?
Oh,
Okay, so all those in favor of John's motion to approve?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, now,
Wood pickles.
okay, now our alternate.
Stepan.
Yeah, and so, Stephen, looks like you're gonna be with us for the next 5 applications.
Oh,
We have
CD on the
5
side.
applications for Wynn Street. Okay?
I do have to leave at 3.
I think we do.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
I got school later.
Mark Catone representing the applicant. So I think first before you is the demo of the existing structure. This home was built in 1979. It's actually it's 30 feet tall, small footprint, but it's a tall structure. So again, this will be a demo move. It's odd, but it's in good shape if it got recycled somewhere else. So there's a new house that's just been built to the right of this.
Was this at one point Michael Molinar's house?
Maybe. Recently the land
No,
family.
like years ago.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, yeah, recently it was land.
It's the one that's
It's
Setback.
down the hill before you go
Yeah.
up.
That's correct. And then the house next to it's just been built the last couple of years, is right on the road.
Here. Jane Miller and Alana are
Right,
here.
so this used to be Anna Maria's. This is down here.
This is actually a move off.
This is one with the tree that goes straight down.
Okay, once again,
Yeah.
this was built in 1979,
That's correct.
correct? All right.
And again,
Comments from the board,
I'm good.
okay?
One thing I wanted to mention, if this looks like it was Anna Maria Santoro's house on 16, it has a big tree in the backyard.
okay.
The tree is to remain.
I'll make a note of
It's
that. I can't
protected by,
by town. I'll check.
well, you have John Miller,
Yeah.
and then you have another house, I can't remember who it was, and then Anna Maria was down here, Santoro, little tiny, thin, tall house. and
I'll
black
definitely
lady.
check.
Well, that's this. And there is a big tree in the back. You can see from the photos, if you look at the back side of the house, you see these giant limbs sort of
Yeah,
coming
it's,
across.
it's a big tree and it's protected,
Okay.
okay?
Let's say we
Seems
move
like
that
it's way in the back.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see, John, you're okay with the move demo?
One comment.
Yes.
North elevation, front door should be a 6-panel, not a.
This is a move off demo.
Huh? This is demo?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, I see that.
Okay.
Okay, forget no
Uh,
comment. Whoever takes it, don't change it.
Did I get you, Stephen? No, I should have started with you.
Yeah,
Is Abby-
Has everyone commented?
No?
Okay. Because if they had, my motion was going to be.
Okay, well,
Can we make a motion?
let me just make sure. So, Diane, your only comment was about the tree?
Yeah, just for not to have it happen, and
Okay.
then to
So
correct.
then, yeah, everyone but you has commented.
So my comment is to make a motion to approve.
Okay. All those,
It's move demo, right?
Yeah.
Move
Yeah,
forward.
if we can recycle this one,
Yeah,
we'd like to as
okay.
well. For
okay,
sure.
all those in
Sorry.
favor of Stephen's motion to move or demo?
Aye.
Aye. Here we go. Okay,
Yeah, it was Megalodon.
Yeah.
this house?
Yeah. At one point, he bought it, he didn't build it
Right.
in the 90s. Earliest builder, it says height.
Yeah, I'm looking at the aerial now. We'll check that tree. I can say what we absolutely want to.
So right now we're reviewing the house.
Used to be a dump.
This one.
Whenever you're ready.
So again,
Anything you want to say?
no, again, Mark Tone representing the applicant. This is fairly consistent with sort of the transition of this neighborhood and what was built out just next door. The home itself is proposed, it is proposed as currently white trim, black sash and doors, red cedar roof, and its ridge, though it's a bigger footprint for what it's worth, it is a slightly shorter building than what's there today, by about 18 inches. And I'll owe you dimensions on this plan as well, based on the previous application. Sorry about that.
What color were the shutters, Mark?
I think we put black on the application, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, really, yeah. What is the ridge height?
28.6
28.6 is the main ridge.
and 30 is what's there today.
Is this essentially going on the same grade?
Yeah, it's a super flat lot. It rolls up in the back, but yes.
Back towards that tree?
Yeah, it'll start to rise slightly towards that tree.
Okay. Who wants to start it out? Stephen? You ready?
Yeah, I think I got this.
Okay.
Absorbed a little bit. South elevation, the dormers, everything looks great, no concerns there. The smaller one, I think if they were gable, it wouldn't look right. I think the smaller one fits in well, so I don't see anything there. Shutters on the front. I don't have any concerns with this.
Okay. Abby, you ready?
How tall it is?
Yeah,
20.
this is 28.6.
That's correct.
I think it kind of relates to the house back on the corner of, is it Vester?
On Vestal,
Vestal and Wynn.
there's been
There's
similar, yeah.
the one that
homes.
sits back. It's got a similar pitch to the roof and a similar massing. Only reason I know that is a friend built it, so otherwise I wouldn't know that. Yeah, I think my only concern is the front of the house. And I'm not sure what's bothering me about it. I'm not, it might be, yeah, it seems, the other house that is moving is a little more vertical. This one seems more horizontal. Maybe that's what I'm just coming up with, but, because, is it the shutters? And I'm imagining them black, so I think that seems a little severe, but maybe your colors were black and white, though.
That's
right?
correct, yeah,
So
black window sashes,
Black
white
window
trim
sashes,
with the black shutter and
I
black
wonder
door.
if these were white, if it wouldn't be a little more, it's gonna be very dramatic.
I'd actually consider maybe a softer color.
A softer color, yeah.
White, honestly, I feel would jump out at you too much,
Yeah.
but maybe like a Hamilton blue or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did kind
or
of like those shutters
an
on the
Essex.
last. So I think I'm trying to say that maybe that massing, if it could get pulled in a little bit, it just looks a little chubby.
On the west elevation or something?
Yeah, the front of the house.
Mark, is there a corner board missing there
On the, where are you?
on the west where,
Yeah, you know there is, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, there are corner boards throughout, except on the dormers. I do introduce the cottage corners on the dormers, which
Yeah.
I've done here, which softens them, I find, versus outlining them.
Wait, can I, before we move on?
Sure.
Hang on one second. Are you finished?
Yes, did you hear my comments though?
I did. Yep. No, so you had something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the east elevation and the south elevation. That chimney
Okay.
height there's a discrepancy.
Oh, yeah, you're right, sorry, way too tall there. That's strange.
Holy.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be that tall. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no biggie, just mentioned.
Yeah, we'll adjust that.
John?
Yes, the 8D windows are listed as awning,
Yeah,
being something else. Other than awning.
and like a hopper on that?
Upper or fixture, right.
That's fine, hoppers will be fine, as long as we can get them operable for
Looks like
bedside.
some of them are gonna be fixed up in the cathedral.
Yeah, those will be fixed for sure.
And, is any indication of, air conditioning, whether they're gonna have it?
That's a good question. I haven't discussed it, and therefore I haven't located a condenser on the site plan yet for screening. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. We like,
Yeah.
if we can get geothermal to avoid doing the condensers, we like that. So,
It's just food for thought, you
Yep.
know where the garage is, between the garage and the house, you got room along the
Yeah.
walkway.
yeah, true.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Diane?
East elevation, the faint part of the building
Yeah,
is, it could use some more windows, I believe.
mm-hmm,
You have a small window, a D window, right there opposite the, B window. Couldn't that go up maybe into the point of the
well, here's what I might suggest. I think, Diane, if I understand your concern, maybe that D window could be replaced with a C window, which is one of the smaller double-hung units we're
Yeah.
using in this design,
yes,
and then put the D up in the gable itself.
yeah, that's,
Okay.
and what's on the wall? What's on
Oh,
the
beyond?
facade over here by the little,
Yep. I think, and there is our stair.
that's the east elevation. Yeah, but you can see it. from the-
Yeah, it's,
You can see it from the,
yeah, I don't know how visible that actually will be, but it just feels, internally, it feels like an odd place to start popping windows. And plus that plate drops a little bit there as
Okay,
well.
well,
Reinforced.
that's down, but
Yep.
there is a view onto this building. Not in the summertime because of the tree, but otherwise from Milk Street,
Looking back.
there's a alley because she used to have a walkway
Mhm.
going to the back of the property and then up and ending up on Milk Street.
Right,
So that's all.
okay.
I just have a question,
Yes.
and it's just for curiosity. On the north, you have the stairway down to the
Yeah,
cellar.
yeah.
How come the door is so close to the window? Like, where's the floor there?
It works, just trust me. It's a staircase is behind that, so it comes up to there's a landing actually above that. So the window floats in the landing, and then when you go down to the basement, you come down to another landing is where that door level is. So on the interior, it actually works actually kind of cool.
It was just curiosity.
And that way you don't have to
Yeah.
run down as deeply to the areaway to get into the basement. You go about halfway down, and then you get to another set of stairs internally. So, but good observation.
I'm fine with everything, taking into account some of the comments that the board members have made. I share Abby's opinion about the shutters, like black would be too heavy, white would be too, aggressive. So you had mentioned Hamilton.
Like a Hamilton blue or even an Essex would start to.
Like the blue that was on it?
It might
The
be.
one that's getting taken down?
That's a little Robin's eggy
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'd like something a little more depth.
And it actually had a little lavender in it too,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
not sure that's it.
But yeah, I hear your concern. I think we can address that.
Do we want to, does somebody want to make a motion on this?
Motion to approve,
Yes.
with the color of the shutters being changed from black to a Hamilton.
How about a Hamilton blue?
Hamilton blue. What was it about the windows?
On the
Oh,
east
there.
elevation, we were going to replace the D window on the main mast to a C window and add a D window up into the gable so that there's more fenestration on that elevation. According to Diane.
Terry, do you have?
Yes.
No, I have no idea which windows you're talking about. Okay.
Let me say it again.
East
On
elevation.
the east elevation, there's a D window on the second floor.
Is that D as in dog?
D as in David, yeah.
D as in
Will be
David,
replaced with a C window.
as in Charlie.
Yes. And
Okay.
then a D window will be placed into the gable.
D as in David.
David again, yep. Yep.
And the D windows are either fixed or hopper.
That's correct.
And,
Dimension of those.
well, yes, dimension the drawings and correct the height of the chimney on the east
Yes.
elevation.
And we'll also add that corner board that's missing on the west elevation.
I think that covers everything.
And add a corner board, you said on the left?
Yes, correct.
Elevation and dimensions. Right?
Yes.
That's everything?
Okay. All those in favor of Abby's motion? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Are they gonna put a
All
pool?
right, we gotta at least get through this application we're in here. We have 3 more things.
Lisa's gonna show up.
Speed it up.
Well, the rest should be easy, right?
There it is.
Okay, so this is the garage.
Is that what you have before you?
That's
The garage.
Yep,
Oh, no.
the garage, yep.
No. Oh,
Okay.
easy.
Oh, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah.
What color are the garage doors?
You know, originally they were black, 'cause that's where we started with the main
You know what I'm
house.
gonna suggest?
You want
Hamilton.
them-
I'd rather, I'm sorry, go ahead. You want a Hamilton blue? We can.
I think it looks
Yeah, yeah,
A nice change.
I agree.
Go back to
I think we do the garage door and we'll do the side door on that as well, I guess.
say.
So the trim would just be.
The trim will remain the white.
Yeah, the
match
side
house.
would be good.
Beautiful.
Well, there's actually
There's only-
batten doors on 2 sides and garage doors on the 3rd side.
So that's a shower on the back side, on the east elevation, natural
so that's
weather.
natural weather.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, we'll do a Hamilton blue then on that.
And the D fixed.
Yes, that's fixed.
Any additional comments on this one? John, these are gonna be fixed.
These windows,
Yes.
Fixed. Okay. Everybody good? Okay, so I think the motion would be
Yes.
approve with the garage doors and batten doors as Hamilton blue and the 4 light windows to be fixed.
Whose motion?
Who wants to make
I'll
that?
make it.
Okay, all those in favor of Abby's motion? Aye. Okay,
Aye.
great. You in favor of?
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, you do what you can do.
We got 3, 4.
Okay, Pool Cabana.
Pool cabana's bigger than the garage.
Yeah, it's really it's, almost, it's really a
It's a
dwelling.
dwelling?
Yeah, I mean, it's cabana, it'll be used as a pool house, but it's also additional space.
Charming.
Colors to match, D windows fixed, and the connector there, which we're showing the vertical boards, it's natural to weather.
The
cedar.
vertical boards are natural weather.
Yeah, just to give it a little contrast. Red cedar.
Okay. Steve, why don't you start it out?
I'm not gonna take away any comments on the fixed windows, I'll leave that for John.
Yep.
Other than that, and colors perhaps to match the main structure in the garage,
And I don't know whether
No
you've heard this, but the vertical board you see in between the 2 main masses is natural to weather, which is natural.
Just red cedar.
Turquoise.
No.
Brown, turquoise now.
I would add, I like the joining between the 2 main masses, that area that joins, it's a little tall, I think it looks good. I just like the way it looks.
Well, I have no comments.
Okay. John? Good? Diane?
She didn't look at it yet, but
Oh,
I'll
good.
vote for her.
Good, Diane.
That's the right road. That's fine.
Look,
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay. All those in favor of Abby's motion to approve?
Aye.
Pool Cabana, thank you. That was unanimous. Okay, my wife's here. Yeah, so I have to take off, but Diane,
Yep,
can you handle the last one of these?
I'll try to.
Whatever. All right. Let the record reflect that Ray Cole is leaving at 2:30. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye,
Rick.
Ray.
Bye, thank you.
You too.
it's for the pool.
Yeah, so this is a pool to be located between the 2 structures you've just approved. Bluestone patio with pavers set in the lawn, frankly. We're fencing in just the backyard, obviously. We're doing ideally a post and wire along the existing vegetation in the back. With some added vegetation as necessary, and then only where visible, we're doing a type 2 picket, natural to weather, only, and with a couple gates, very limited visibility from the road now.
It goes like
Could you
that.
clarify the
Yes.
wood fence?
Location.
Yeah.
We're going to try and just make the fence disappear and the vegetation to the back, so we were just going to do a post and wire, like a 4x4 natural weather with the wire in between, and bury that. And then where the few spots where we have gates and a little bit of visible fencing, we were going to introduce just a type 2 natural weather. So those 2 spots really are only here, Abby, there's a small section here, and another section here, and then here, there's a wire system.
Can I say the wood fence goes in?
No.
What is,
It's
what is?
only here.
Oh,
This is your
okay.
our setbacks.
Oh.
No, it's
okay.
only here.
Okay, great,
Back of the
thank
road.
you.
Yeah.
Can
Sorry.
I ask you a question?
Yes.
Where is the tree?
Well, I just made a note, we're gonna have to locate that tree. The tree, I looked at just as we were sitting, I looked at the aerials. It appears to be in the slightly northeast corner of this lot. If I had to guesstimate, we're going to stake it to find out. It's protected, obviously. It's back here. And the new owners would want to save it. They're pretty particular about any immature vegetation that we can retain.
The way it was set up way back when it was done is that it has a fairly extensive root system.
Yeah.
So you probably would be good to, when you get to it, to check with Dale.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that might make a,
Yeah, if we can save a tree, I'm always a fan, so.
Is the fence natural to weather, Mark?
Yes, it is.
and does it have to extend so far? Can it not go into the pool house?
It could return back into the pool house.
Because you have that hill in the back of
It
the
rises slightly back there, yeah, that's right.
property, rises from Wynn Street up to Milk Street, so it's a pretty good rise.
I mean, we could certainly
What?
return it to the, we return this fence back to the pool house
Yeah.
here, and then just behind.
Yeah,
the
that would be,
fence.
and that would be this
Yeah, more natural.
more natural. Johnny, do you have something
No comment.
to say? Steve, you are on this. This is the end of the Wynn Streets, right? Do you have
Yes,
anything
I
to
am.
add?
I have absolutely no concern with the structure or the hardscape. I would ask, just for clarification, with the posts and wire mesh fence, what are you thinking with, I don't mind it, but I'm just curious, what are you thinking with the vegetation? Is it going to be like a mix of deciduous and evergreen?
Yeah, we want to make it as natural as possible. Yeah, and evergreens, obviously, so at this time of year, we still have some screen there. Yeah.
I don't have an issue with it.
And they're going to shorten the fence
We're
in
going
the
to
back.
pull
so
it in
that
a little bit, per
Yeah.
Diane's suggestion.
There will be no,
Here and here, not all the way.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
so,
Pool equipment, we've been locating them in the lower mechanical spaces of the pool house. That's why I have that walk down in the back, so it's for servicing. So it protects the equipment and it creates no noise.
Neighbors
do we
probably
have
appreciate it, too.
a motion?
Is everybody going on this?
Yeah, I think everybody's gone.
I'll make a motion to approve,
Yeah.
saving the tree
Saving the tree, absolutely.
and pulling in the gate, or
Yes.
pulling in the fencing.
Why don't I give you a corrected drawing for that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, could
showing
you
the
do
new
that
fence location?
So we could do this through staff?
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
thank you guys.
That's my motion.
All right, everybody in favor?
Aye.
And, anybody opposed? No, 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 no.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. So our next one is Hoyks Hollow. Are you doing that?
I have a question. With Ray gone, who is the other alternate sitting on that one?
We don't need one, right?
Ray, Steve was
We were
sitting,
down to 4 with Ray gone on that very last one.
Oh,
So is there another alternate besides Stephen on it? Who was it?
I will be.
It was you, Val.
Okay.
There you go, that
Me.
takes care of it.
Thanks, Terry.
all right, we have got, Hoyks Hollow coming up, and the first thing is a new dwelling. I have two letters, which I don't know, whether everybody's had them. We need to add to read them in.
That first one, I believe, is sent. That one just came.
Okay, I have a letter from Brosfield, who is at 5 Hoyks Hollow. It says, this is to do with 13 Hoyks Hollow. Please be advised that there are restrictive provisions on the certificates of title for all lots in this subdivision. They were duly extended and recorded in document number 118489 on 11/30/2006. Approved HDC plans must be sent to our approval authority using my address. If permitted, I would like the address of the trustee Judith L. Bruce so I can notify her directly. that's it. And we, the other ones everybody got a copy of?
What was his objection? Just to note the, what did he, what was Mr.? Oh, okay, so he didn't have any objections to,
It wasn't, it just says it has to be submitted to them.
okay,
It should be submitted to them before we fully approve.
okay.
And,
That's like an HOA?
Yeah, as part of the development. I mean, it's relatively straightforward about natural roof, white cedar shingles. There are a few other details on there, but
I think we acted on one other up there.
yeah, there hasn't been a lot of activity there. I haven't worked on it. Yeah, way up by
Yeah.
the lighthouse.
Yeah. So,
I haven't seen another letter. There's another letter?
Yeah, there's a
There was
typed
one
one
other-
that came.
Yeah, something about somebody said something about the height, I remember reading something about that. But,
Abby, run through it and see if you see anything and then just read it out loud.
we have a few questions and concerns about the elevation of the dwelling and outbuilding of the plans proposed for 13 Howick's Hollow. We own the property abutting. Our property and 13 Howick's Hollow were divided by the previous owner. We want to make sure that the stakes in the ground when the property was divided accurately represent the proposed building envelope, as we purchased the adjacent property based on the stakes placed by a surveyor for the owner. We are concerned about the elevation of the house and the compound. As we understand that the compound, main house, portiere, pool, garage, and cabana are proposed to all be at about the same level, which is at a substantially higher level than that of the grade of the natural topography. There's a valley and natural fescue that currently exists off to the right and forward if you are standing on Howick's Hollow Road. If the plan is to fill in the valley significantly to bring it to the level of the other side of the compound, the plan seems to indicate that a 12 to 14-foot difference in grade from the land on the northwest side of the house versus that to the southeast. Let's see, also a plan for, is there a plan for a retaining wall? If so, what is the height of the retaining wall that would face our home at Howick's Hollow? The plan indicates that the buildings are not nestled into the natural topography but raise the level of the entire compound to the highest point. Should I stop while
No, but that one had something about a driveway too, right? Because it doesn't show how you access the property.
In addition, where is the driveway planned? We couldn't see one on the survey plans. Or
Yeah.
one most direct route to the portiere.
Yeah, that was inadvertently admitted. I can show you where that would go, but there are a bunch of other things that are mentioned on that I think are inaccurate, so.
All righty.
I mean, I thought that it would take a little bit to actually orient everybody to the property itself.
Why don't you?
Right, yeah.
So if you want to just look at the cover sheet, which has the contour information, I believe that every building envelope in this development is the same size. There's a neighboring, if this is the neighbor that actually sent the letter, they're shown on there. You can actually see that their house extends beyond their building envelope. But the building envelope
Is the rectangle?
yeah, that dashed rectangle. So, and it's positioned, we have no control over the location of it.
Okay, so you have the rectangle.
Yeah,
further
so
up the-
our series of buildings, there is a cabana, there is a pool, there is a garage. They make a courtyard here. Everything is single-story structure except for the main house, which is an upside-down house. The upside-down square footage is 1,200 square feet. So we're trying to keep as much of the program as possible single-story. That's kind of the overview of it. The topography does slope quite a bit. There is a natural valley. Actually, our driveway, the plan is to have our driveway follow that natural valley, which you can see on the contour plan. So we will drive up from here, and we will come up this valley, and then go around to the back. We're not going to actually enter into the porte cochere. You can also see on your site plan, we had all of the existing vegetation delineated, so this clouded line that kind of wraps around through there is all existing scrub oak that's there. All of this is all existing vegetation. This is an open meadow that's currently there.
You want to show us over here where the driveway is?
Yeah, sorry. So it'll follow this valley. It'll come up this
The
low.
18-foot one?
Yeah, it'll come up through here, and then it's going to wrap around and arrive up at this point.
So,
So
let it be.
we can't, we're not altering any of this grade. These guys sit up, I don't have the contour information here. This is 26, this is 28. These guys sit higher than us. We have the elevation, you can look at the floor plans. We've got this set at elevation 30. Which is actually cut into the hill here. The natural grade on the high side is about 34. So we're trying to push the building down on that corner to minimize the amount of retaining that we end up on the downhill side. We're trying to keep that retaining wall, you'll see it in the elevations, to less than 4 feet of, or excuse me, to 4 feet of height, because that actually would work as our pool enclosure.
No, this would be,
So-
Matt, you would be sitting on this, would you not?
Oh, no, we switched. Right,
Okay.
yeah.
You need
Yeah.
two on
We
it.
need two, so Steve.
Two?
You?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you don't want to sit,
No, I do want to sit on this
Okay.
one.
so
This might be,
this is Matt and Valerie are sitting on it.
Okay.
Valerie, I'll pass you, owe me one.
Do we have, do you have all the restrictions that this
Oh, I might.
housing,
do I have?
do you have all the restrictions that the subdivision requires? That this letter says?
I mean, memorized?
No.
No, but should we have those? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I can get them to you.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
you know what they are, right? So we're,
They're material-based, really. And then there's a restriction on second dwellings.
okay,
And then there's secondary structures are supposed to be allocated to one particular corner of this lot, which is where we have the cabana.
okay, that's fine. It
John's
just says-
leaving, so all three of us are sitting on it.
Oh, we could have moved fast. Diane,
Four
there's
right
a-
now.
Are you Mr. Gravely? by any chance?
That's-
Oh, maybe you should, tell Terry that you're.
Do you want
are
to have him speak and then you speak, or do you want to speak first? Okay,
Well,
why don't you speak first?
sure. So I think, just to go back to the building envelope, all of the building pieces are contained within the building envelope. There's been some debate by my client's attorney about the flexibility of that, because both abutting neighbors have built outside of their building envelope. At least the garage structures have been. I think the way that the restrictions are
Bye, John.
written, it sounds as if the main house is supposed to be within that container, but we've got all the structures are contained within that. In fact, except the pool, which extends a little bit beyond there. And we're actually, the intent is to keep the, with this courtyard scheme, to keep the interruption of the natural grade and the natural vegetation as minimal as possible. So there is a flat area that is going to be created by these structures. We're actually going to step down on that lower corner. We're stepping down in the courtyard to the pool level and to the cabana. If you look at the floor plan is probably the best page to see this, because all of the buildings are actually on this floor plan.
Alrighty.
So,
You,
so the floor plan has
guys,
We have a,
No.
we have a question.
Relative to the step down, on the site plan, it shows a, just for clarification before we proceed so we understand what we're looking at. On the site plan, it shows in the southern corner near the cars an elevation of 30 feet. On the the left corner, which is the northwest corner, it shows an elevation of about 21 feet. So that, looking at the drawings, that's a southern elevation, and it has a grade change of approximately 8 feet. But we didn't see that in the elevation.
What's that?
Where is it? Oh,
Well, yeah, but
Stephen?
you're looking at existing contours, so this is, that's 30,
Yeah, and that's 21-ish.
yeah, that's 21, right.
So it'll be about,
So we can pull 26 around this corner pretty easily without doing a lot of fill in here, so that this
Okay.
corner only ends up, the goal is to get this corner to only be a 4-foot difference. So we're actually stepping this down. So see these steps on this plan? This is elevated, this goes down 1.5 feet. So
don't see
this
any
is
of that.
actually at 28.5.
okay, but if you pull your, can you wait just one
Yeah,
second?
yeah.
Just so I, and then I can share. If you pull this up to 26, it'll be, you're gonna put some type of retaining wall over here?
This is, this edge right there is the retaining wall.
I got you.
Right there, yeah. It's essentially defined by the,
So it'll be about a 5-foot retaining wall if you go from 30 to 26.
We're gonna, 4 feet,
4.
yeah.
let's do that so everybody understands where you're talking about.
Well, I think you need a grading plan, that,
I would feel more
where I
comfortable
was
with
going.
that to start off with, and where the driveway is.
Right,
Yeah.
because
And if we might,
This is-
some poles
yeah, this is the
where
arrangement.
this is gonna sit.
Yeah, I thought that the result of this meeting would be for us to have staked. We hired a surveyor to go back out and redelineate the building envelope. While the property was being listed by the realtors, there's a viewing stand on it. The viewing stand was put there actually outside of the building envelope. You can see it on this site plan. the
Is that
existing-
this right here?
yeah, so that existing viewing stand, which these people probably assumed was in the middle of the building envelope, is actually outside.
Okay.
Okay.
So
The other thing,
we had nothing to do with the viewing stand, and neither did my client. So.
we'll designate where we'd like the poles and stuff to go in a minute.
Yeah, so there's a series of ridges. There's the main house, there's a cabana, and there's a garage structure. And I think it will be helpful for everybody to know where the building envelope is
Right,
and also what
and
those
the-
ridge poles
The way to get
will
up
look
the
like.
driveway, that'd be short ones. But would you like to speak?
Sure, Kenneth Dawson, represent Michael Farmers and a neighbor. You're not addressed, but raised some of the issues that I was going to, which is basically that within this one point to another, there's about a 13-foot grade change. And the materials that we have, you can't really tell what's proposed in terms of grading and retaining
It's
wall.
8, sorry, from 34 to 22, just before everybody gets 14 feet in
Well,
there.
it's 21, I think.
34, okay, I'll give you 21. 21 to 34.
So, not necessarily opposed, we just like to know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
makes sense.
Is there going to be a wall, is how high,
Right.
what's going to happen to the land in front, in addition to the other restrictions that there are view easements involved, so we need to make sure that things can be built within that area. So again, at this point, I don't have an opposition, I just like to see more information.
Right, which we will ask for the,
The view easements are, just for my own edification, the view easements are defined by, as long as we stay within the limits of this building envelope, then my client's under the impression, and so am I, that anything is permissible, that there's no height restriction other than what gets imposed by the HDC in zoning in terms of view, that all of these lots maintained this building envelope so that in theory everybody has a view out towards the ocean, kind of towards the east.
But part of the question would be, is there going to be any grading or filling outside the envelope? If you're
Right.
going to, you may have to build, if you're proposing to build up something on the low end or put a retaining wall or, so
Right.
yeah, we'd like more information.
we can ask for further information
And
supply
to
that.
be fair, I think I'd like to see the poles and the delineation and then some more information from Joe before we even make comments on this. because that may
Yeah.
completely impact how I feel about it.
Diane, may I add to what Val just said?
Yeah.
The only thing I would add to that is I'd like to see, when you shoot your X's and Y's for the corners of the buildings, is add the Z component for like the finished floor on that, that 21 foot, what's it currently 21 foot, so we have a better idea what we're looking at.
Right, so, in other words, the cabana, which if you look at it on a flat plane is about 18 feet tall, but if you
Yeah,
take
we'll have
into
that,
effect-
we'll have the finished floor, top of foundation for that structure,
Right,
and then we
if
can
it
figure
sits
out.
on contour 26, and we're gonna raise it up to say 28, we'll make sure that the ridge poles are taller than the 18 feet, if that makes sense. Yeah. Is that what you're asking?
For me, it would just be, if you're gonna they're gonna mark corners, and I presume you're gonna do a ridge pole, maybe where there's a gable, up to everyone else. I would just like to see some representation of what the grade changes that you're talking about on one corner, which is that far corner of the buildings. So we can see, you put the stake in the ground and paint it dark blue up until where the grade is gonna be. Just so we have a visual representation on the site to tie to the grading plan that you'll be turning in.
Yeah, I think if we were gonna do that too, we've done this on site to help to explain to a client. If you take a string and tie it to where the grade's gonna be,
Anything you
and
can
run
do.
it out to where you think it'll go,
Yeah.
then it'll show you how that would
Yeah.
plane out.
So we
I mean, my client has zero interest in having an 8-foot retaining wall on that downhill side, so.
We will have we will make a motion for further information, and we will request poles at the two ends of the house.
I
And
think that the view, his overall site, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the main house,
yeah,
main
Front and
ridge,
back.
yeah.
And then I would just like to see the grade representation,
yeah,
Right.
we'll have the
whether
grade.
it's a string or paint, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Okay, so the poles will include the outlying buildings, the poles at either end of the ridge of the main house, the change in the elevation of land in that corner, and maybe some small poles. They don't have to be big, just to give us an idea of where the driveway is coming in through the valley there.
Okay.
And is it gonna stay at that height, or do you think you'd be adding, are you asking to add fill to bring the driveway up, or you don't
or
know yet?
retain.
Or retain?
We might require a little bit of retaining along there, but
Not yet, well, if we can just see
No,
how,
it's
what the
too early to tell
layout
on
is
that.
going to be on
Yeah.
it. Now, the other question is, it's getting to be a little bit 4-3, and we've got, building move off, which I'd like to do before we finish, is, do you want to have,
The other
the
two
new
to
dwelling,
track.
the garage and the cabana
Yeah,
track
Yes.
to go along after we see the site?
So I have 4 ridge poles on I've marked 4 ridge poles on here. There's 2 on the main ridge, 1 on the garage, 1 on the house, plus, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that's what you want.
Yeah,
plus
I don't think anyone's suggesting you to do the additional buildings every corner, but the ridge poles, and include them, and then we'll wait for that information before we get into reviewing them individually.
right.
Right, we just, but just an angle also of the driveway, so it's clear where it's gonna come in.
Sure.
And if it's condensable or whatever, if you have a list of what the housing association requires, it would give us some idea.
Right. So when would you actually do the viewing of the poles? Like,
When do you think you can get them in?
well, if it's possible to be up on Tuesday, I would beg someone to try to get this done over the weekend.
Can we
I'm not
do
sure
that,
if that's
John?
possible.
Yeah, as of now, I have, everything's on the Tuesday agenda, so it's up to you.
Okay.
If he's able
Yep.
to do that. you
Yeah.
feel comfortable.
When would a viewing occur then?
Over the
Over
weekend?
the weekend, and it's a long weekend,
Today's Thursday, right?
yeah.
Can you get that done? That's awfully tight.
If you
Yeah.
can't, then we can bump it to the next week.
Well, I think at a minimum, even if, I know this is not a one-meeting approval, the driveway and the contour, we've worked out the contours graphically, and we also have the driveway plan, and I think that might help. If that still puts things at a point where you're not able to comment, then I guess we would
No, we
put it off, but
do what you can. Let
Okay.
John know if it's not going to go for next Tuesday.
getting my only hesitation is getting a surveyor. If we really want it done accurately, then it needs to be coordinated with a surveyor. Rather than typically Ridgepole is a contractor based
Right.
on our
Right.
advice.
Right.
But we're on a sloping site, it's not an exact science. I would want to make it an exact science, especially with the grade
Well,
stuff.
if you find yourself
So-
not able to do it, just let John know, and we'll put it off for another,
That would go 2 weeks, right?
yeah.
By the way, your agenda shows a meeting the week of school vacation week. Are you changing that? You know? I'm here, but,
HTC never sleeps.
no? Okay. Okay. I just want to
Thank
make
you.
sure, otherwise.
Thank you very much.
For more information,
Yes.
polls,
All
et
three.
cetera.
Thank
Terry
you,
has-
All
Joe.
those in favor?
Terry has the information.
Aye.
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 And another one to hold the cabana and the pool and the second.
Yes,
I thought
to
those
track
were
with
viewing-
the-
I thought those were viewing with height poles as well.
They're going to be height poles, but they're going to, for us looking at them, they're going to track with the poles.
So Diane, I have to go.
Can we stay just long enough to get to this house? Just move it off at 48 Tennessee?
Sure.
And I'm recusing from this.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the other, the wiggy worm, eh? All right, this is Nantucket Advisory on 48 Tennessee. Prefer to remain in current location. So,
Could you read that again?
yes, the Nantucket Advisory Board has it to prefer to remain in current location. I thought we had done this once before, but
I know, I thought, wasn't
Yep.
this Val's project?
That's why I
Oh.
stepped away.
Oh,
It was.
this is six, and Abby has a letter. So would you like to,
I was in some weeks ago, I work for the Land Bank,
would you state your name for?
Dane DiCarlo. I came in to have approved to rehabilitate the building. Early in the year, the staff meets with the commission, decides on projects to move forward with for the year. The 23 Tennessee down the road came up in discussion. The houses down there were moved off of the property. It's a vacant lot. Discussions centered around whether to make it a park, and a couple of things were hashed around. And the concern became that there are a lot of abutters down on that end of the road. And we have a dock and parking across the street used for people who go out and visit Tuckernuck overnight. And we thought that the use of this building down the road on that lot would be less pressure, I guess, on the abutters, so that we would not be doing really anything with the lot more than having a Nantucket storage building. And the benefit on the 48 side would be to open the vistas up on that lot by removing the building and moving it down the street. It's my understanding that the building was once approved to be moved, but the stipulation was that it could not leave Nantucket. So we feel that we are satisfying that.
If that's true, I'd like to see a copy of thing, because this was in front of us not very long ago, and it was decided that it wasn't going to be torn down, and it was an existing building, and we don't know what 23 Tennessee used to be, was.
It used to have a dwelling on it. The dwelling was removed, and it's a vacant lot at present.
I don't see which 23 is here.
May I? Because I did work on
Yeah,
this.
yes.
So, the 23 was the Severino's property.
At the
And
corner?
there was a house and a workshop there that got approved a year or so ago to move or demo, and it got demoed, I think, right?
Yes.
What Dane's talking about, I had come in prior move this building as well. It was moved or approved to move years before to the Nantucket Admiralty, and then that expired.
Right.
So he can bring proof of that in. When it did come before you, when I was representing it, you did not want to let it move.
Right.
Where it was, so.
Yeah, and that wasn't so long ago. So, Steve or Abby, you want to speak?
I just want to get this straight. So, this building is at 48 Tennessee, and you want to move it to 23.
23, and this has been before us before.
All right,
And the last time it was before us, we said it was to remain here.
Yeah, I'd rather have it stay in its location that it is now, just because it's historically there. If the board was to okay it, I would want to make sure it was moved and not somehow, because moving these old buildings can be, I wouldn't want to pick it up and then find that it was falling apart or something.
I've already looked into that. The other thing I was thinking too is I would not change its position. I would have it facing the same way, and in fact, you would actually be able to see the, I guess that would be the north elevation, which you currently can't from Hither Creek anymore. It's shrouded, historically it was a boat building. You would roll boats in and out down to the creek. You can't even see that side of the building where it presently sits anymore due to cedars, a stand of cedars. By moving it down the street, you would then, be able to again see that view with the two barn doors.
And then my last question is, what was planned for 48 once, if that was to move? What did you say?
I had come in about, I think, a little less than a month ago, and this was before this staff meeting, to only ask to rehabilitate the building to, new windows, roof siding, and I was not approved. I was sent away with revisions because the pictures show the windows shuttered, and I'm forgetting who was, Christine, was it, asked for proof of the sash sizes. So I had gone back, I had already measured them, but I took pictures and further documented those. But then when this news came up, I decided, well, that's on the shelf until we decide if we're going to move or if we're approved to move the building or not. So I reapplied for the move off and move on.
All right. Steve, do you have an opinion?
I prefer to wait till Matt's done.
Oh, okay.
History.
Can you remind me when the building was constructed? I've forgotten.
It was, best I know, it was on 1930s aerials. That I do know.
At the moment, my inclination is to, the building is listed as a contributing building in the state and federal historic districts for Nantucket. And because of that, my preference would be for the building to stay in its existing historic location. But I might be willing to revisit that if you were able to provide additional documentation about the previous HDC decision, which authorized a move.
Certainly can. Yeah, I didn't think to bring that because I thought that was known amongst the board, but I understand if it was some time ago, it's different board members.
Good, because my feeling, having gone through the last thing of not moving it, is that I would prefer not to see it move. It's rearranging the village of Nantucket, and it's been there, and it's with some pruning and stuff, it can be used, and use 23 as it is a vacant lot. Leave it as it is, and make it available that way. That would be my opinion. But if you want, we can hold for revisions for further information, if that would be what you would like to do.
I think I understand the situation. I don't need to hold it. But
So then, can I have a motion? What you want to?
Can I?
Yeah.
I do think the fact that if there is, and Dale, no reason to doubt it, the previous approval was to allow it to be moved, but only within the Nantucket area. The fact that it is going to be, if it were to be moved, it would be reutilized in the Nantucket area, still facing the water, still on Tennessee. I prefer to see it used in some place that is, if it's on the Tennessee, if it's on 28 Tennessee?
48, 23.
23, that is also land bank land?
Yep.
And then that opens up that Hither Creek Vista. So for me, it's a contributing structure, and I think what Diane has commented about preserving the Nantucket area and the village sense of what it was. I don't disregard that, but I think that there's also the utility of relocating it to land bank area. It's still on Tennessee, still facing Hither Creek, still helps to maintain that sense of what was there, and it opens up some of the vista to Hither Creek. So I would not be as concerned about it. I would vote to approve it.
Okay, so does somebody want to propose a motion?
I'll propose a motion to hold for further information, for you to supply documentation and the minutes of the previous hearing when it was approved to move, and further information about the reasons for that approval, so that we can make an informed decision. The minutes of the previous approval when it was approved to move, just so that the board can get a better understanding of the findings that went into making that decision.
Yeah, it was quite a long time ago.
It was certainly before I was
The
on.
approval to move was.
What happens to that?
Okay.
We're approved to construct a dock on 50 Tennessee. Right now there is a low-lying plank, almost boardwalk leading out. It's mostly underwater, and we're approved to do a new elevated to a public dock. It's basically right across from Nantucket Marine.
Not a building, just a dock?
Not a building, the dock. So what I'm getting at is if the building moves, it provides an area to access this piece of property and walk, out on the dock, launch a kayak, etc.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I'd second the motion.
To hold for further
Further
information. And you are on Tuesday's agenda already?
Coming up this Tuesday?
Yes.
I suppose I can get it together by then, sure.
That would be great.
All right.
All right.
Fantastic. We'll see you then.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Should we take a
Diane,
vote?
Yes.
A what?
A vote?
Can,
A vote. Oh,
Aye.
yes, aye.
Aye.
Motion to
Aye.
hold for more information.
yes.
And 23, do you want that to track?
Yes,
Yes,
we'll
please.
track 23 with the rest of, now the
All in
other
favor?
thing is, it's, everybody wants to go, it gets us down to just 3 people. Is there anybody who is still on the agenda that needs to be seen today because of,
I'll continue till Tuesday.
Bye.
okay, thank you very much, appreciate that. Who is he? Who he?
That's Mark for number 1 under new business.
Okay. What,
I'm here till 4, so.
can we,
And
I have to go to the school.
I know you do.
I can.
All right, this would be with 3 people. This will be your board. So come and. Oh.
I'm just after 10, so.
Which one are you?
I'd like to say hello. It's been a while since I've been here. How you doing, Val?
Good.
Some new faces. Hey.
Is this Robin Halpern?
So what number are? What is your?
Well, this is Ken Murphy. He's next.
Right. No, but I didn't see him on here. Oh, here you are. All right. This is 17 Washerman? Okay. Let's go.
I think we're going to go as far as we can. My guess would be that anything under new business is not going to be heard today, right?
Right.
And move that till Tuesday.
1 through 6. I take a motion to move 1 through 6 on the new business to Tuesday.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay. So that is
And I'm
unanimous.
not sure that, is Delay here?
No,
They're not here.
right.
And so we can move them as well. That's 25 and 26.
Six.
So a motion to move 25 and 26 to Tuesday?
Yeah.
Bear with me,
We
this
have-
is my first
So let's
stab at
do the next 5 and
computerized
I'll
professional
wait till
drawings.
that's done, but let's go.
All right, let's go for
Got a
17
couple
Washington.
breaks that are dipping into windows, but.
Okay, Ken, what's up?
My first stab at computerized professional drawings, so bear
Good
with me.
job.
Bear with me. We're adding a porch to this structure. This is in Nantucket. Kent Murphy representing the clients.
This is Hopkins, sir.
It's in line with the porches that are in Nantucket, the size and the elevations, the depth.
Do they make any comments, their HOA?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
No, but they do it after approvals usually,
Oh,
oddly enough.
Kinda
Or
like
during the-
Nassau.
Or during the approval process. So,
I have no concerns.
Neither do I.
Okay,
This exact porch is on various homes of the same style in the neighborhood. I have no concerns.
the only,
Yeah, you don't work for that, do you,
No,
anymore?
I
No?
gave that out to bid
Okay.
a few years ago.
the only thing that I would ask, that if Nantucket comes back with any alterations, like shortening the porch on either side, that maybe that could lend to staff approval.
yeah, we
Had
can
to
do
do
that, but they don't usually come back with anything.
Okay, I'm just saying, save time. Spring is approaching.
Yeah, I have no concerns.
All right.
I'd
All
like to
those
make a
in
motion
favor
to
of-
approve as submitted.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for making my first stab at the professional drawing.
Is Julie here?
Success.
Good luck with it.
I'll clean them up.
Thank you.
This is an
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
All right, so we have 10 Jefferson Avenue. Which
This is the never-ending project.
Oh, thank you. There we go, Val.
Okay,
It's on there.
Sorry.
so what's your proposal?
So my client owns 10 Jefferson Ave and has a curb cut in that area. While they don't intend to build a house or anything, she would like to have access. And more aesthetically, that people walk in her property constantly because of the style of the gates and fencing being very similar to what the town uses everywhere. And you can't see in there. So basically, poor innocent runners come along and they think they're going into the bird sanctuary and they walk into their yard and they are in their yard and then there's strangers. So they would like to, and also people park their bikes when they go to jetties all along that whole run of split rail, and they installed it themselves in the 80s. And we're doing a big wetland restoration, so they would like to just have natural vegetation up to the grass edge and remove the split rail and then just have a man gate and a rustic kind of cedar car opening gate in case we need to get equipment in there or cars in there.
But this
And-
is right off Jefferson Ave.
Yes. And there's a gate there now, and there's split rail, and there's a driveway, but it's grass. And they would just like to add those tracks so that if they wanted to park for a party in there, they could and not hurt the wetland. And it was actually part of our Concom application that we weren't supposed to be in there churning up mud, so we needed to have some sort of hard surface to drive on.
Where do you want to have this end of the driveway with an apron?
That's inside the property. It's out here, and so there's just lawn, and there wouldn't be any hardscape out to. It would look from the street. This is Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
It would look from the street as it always has. So the gate would just close on these stones
So
here.
what, you're just asking for a wider?
I'm just asking for these tracks in here and to remove some split rail and add a driveway gate in this location so that people don't wander into their yard.
I think the gate should come back a little.
Okay.
Just
think
so
she'd
it's
be
not
open to
right
that.
on the
And you
street.
want to take the fencing out.
Just the split rail that's along the street.
Why do you
Well,
want
you don't have to apply for split rail.
Right. So
Why
we can
do-
just take that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have,
Won't the split rail keep people out better than that?
No, because it's a wetland. It's more that people are parking their bikes on there, and then all we need is a man gate so people don't walk in to this area. People just walk in here thinking it's a town nature area.
so what would that man gate tie into though? A hedge?
Yeah, it's right here. Here's the elevation. So it's just, I just have, this is, I would probably do these as, this is existing hedge, but this would probably be a more native looking plant, not hedge.
Okay.
And then the little gate next to it. And then
I think if you can push this back a little bit so it's not right.
I agree with you,
on
Val.
the
I actually
street.
think that would look better.
10 feet, 12, 12 feet back.
Sure, I'll do that.
So,
How about if you do that, and then you have to push the man gate, the person gate
Person gate.
back too, but you're going to be in the wetland.
No,
Maybe,
it-
what if you just pushed it back to the depth of the apron that's showing? The 3 feet, so
Oh,
it's
that's
not
a
right
good
on the
idea.
road.
And then that way you're,
Because otherwise you're going to have, I'm just looking at this, I'm familiar with the area because I am actually guilty. I didn't go in the yard, but I've gone in there before.
Yeah, maybe not enough so that somebody could park there, but I think, you know, we don't want to start a precedent of gates on every single property on Nantucket. So if it could be back at least 5 feet,
all right.
you could tie into that man.
I can just
gate,
plant that out. I don't
right.
think that matters.
Make it
They're
the
even.
edge.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter that they're on the same plane, I don't think, as long as it's planted in between.
Right.
Is it natural to weather?
It is.
What do you guys think?
yeah,
I think that's fine.
so 5 feet.
Looks good.
5 feet
I'll
back.
make revisions and then.
And the man gate as proposed, which would be up in the
on
front of the
property
5
line,
feet,
yeah.
and the gate would be the back of the
Yes.
5 feet.
Is there another style gate like that there?
It is. It's very similar.
Okay.
There's some up on the cliff.
Can I ask, is there any adversity using more of the stone like on the cobblestone hill? Are you using the Belgian block for a reason?
For the apron, I could. The Belgian block is just going to be better in the wetlands, and it's
Yeah.
just going to, it suits her style a little better.
Just
so.
curious. I don't have a strong feeling either way. It's an apron. Anyone else?
Matthew? No?
So
So I'd
the
make-
motion
No.
would be,
I make a motion to approve through staff with Julie correcting the drawing so that it reflects the gate setting back and wherever she's gonna put her man gate with regard.
gate back 5 feet.
Person gate.
And can I just add something?
Sure.
Hey,
You
Steve,
had
how
said-
are you?
Julie,
I'm doing well.
You had said that
In this day and
that
age.
Concom had requested a hard surface
Yes.
for the driveway. Could you just include a copy of that
Yes, sure.
with your plans so that
Sure.
we can have that in the file?
There you go.
Good catch, man.
That's my
Is that
motion.
the people gate?
The people gate
Yeah,
will be,
the motion got cut off in the minute when you started talking about the hard surface, so
Okay,
I didn't get the whole motion.
Sorry.
So motion to approve through staff with the main gate being pushed back about 5 feet. The man gate to tie in somehow with that. And to include the Concom
Finding.
requirements with it.
Okay.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? We are there. Okay, the next guy is Wigwam.
Not even gonna try that name. How do you say it?
Last name G Blaze. G Blaze.
Giblase?
G. Blase.
Blase.
Welcome.
All righty, we have
Not
got,
my name.
So tell
we'll
us.
start with the new dwelling.
Yeah, it's a two-story, three-bedroom dwelling. Is pushed back on the yard, part of the property. And then we did actually altogether goes also the garage and then pool cabana with the pool. But, I mean, the main dwelling is trying to pretty much maximize the height is allowed to go close to 30 feet, and then the two side gables are about 1.5 lower than that.
And you sure
And
you want to
then big-
continue with
big
a
deck on
short
the back.
board?
Continuing what?
This
It's
will be
only
the board
us, right.
that will exist for you through the
Um,
process.
would
Otherwise,
like
you can hold until Tuesday,
I
where
would like to
hopefully there
hear
will
the-
be a full board.
I would like to hear some responses at least now, and then we'll see.
Well,
Yes.
then you're stuck with us.
I'm stuck with
But
you.
we're good.
We'll be fair.
No, if somebody can mull it in.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have an app, right? We can mull it in. So if Christina Ray wants to mull it in, they can do that. So we can proceed with this.
Or Abby.
All right.
Or
Abby,
Dawn.
yep, but she's gone, forgot.
I think my first question would be, what's the height? It seems it's over 29 feet.
It's, yeah, it's close to 30, 20, 29.
Oh, yeah, right, 29.8.
29.8.
What's the height of the indigenous plant out there now? Is it that scrub material that's, most of it's being kept, some of it's being kept? Just while we're looking at this, I'm kind of curious. From the driveway, between the road and the
Between-
parking.
Yeah, I mean, between the road and parking or the house, there will probably some part will be kept and some part will be removed because of the septic need to be put there. You can see it on the site plan.
And what's the height of that stuff now?
I don't know exactly, maybe 3 feet or so.
Oh, it's pretty low.
It's pretty low, yeah.
Okay, just curious, thanks.
All right. So, do you have any other?
I think there.
Oh, no, I was just looking for some information while we were studying this up.
I think there are some taller issues too, actually.
Would you mind jumping past me and I'll...
Okay.
I'm not ready yet either.
Matt?
I can start with just some initial comments, and then maybe you can circle back to me.
Yeah, we can start with initial and then go on.
Let's see. I mean, it's a fairly regular facade. It would be nice for the two B windows on either side of the front door to be A's, and they just seem a little small there. And then because the facade is so regular, I'm just curious about the design choice to add the triple B windows on the right hand gable and not 3A windows. Is there a reason why you've used the triple Bs?
It's an upside down house.
Okay.
That side is a kitchen, so we wanted to have some windows there above the countertop and maximize that space, the cabinet space on the side, so we didn't want to split or put the windows on the whole gable. Of course, there's some wall space.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of visibility, the south side with all of the decking, I don't think it's going to be fairly limited.
Yeah, there's way too much deck, though. We don't have John here to do calculations, but you can tell by just looking at it.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Gotta reduce the decking.
What's the formula for determining?
It's 30% of the lineal wall length.
Okay.
He has a little thing that he just takes a minute to do. So,
Yeah, but can you clarify for us, is a portion of that actually...
And it's
at least on the
also
first
14 feet from the second floor, which is gotta be reduced.
On the first floor, if you look at the proposed south elevation and the proposed north elevation, which are in reverse order, that what you're showing as railing at grade level is actually for the walkout basement. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
Yes,
that
there is.
one, this is my own comment.
No, it's not a calculation for first floor, it's only second floor.
No, I'm just making a comment on that, just because in addition to deck having, being expansive, that having a railing as opposed to perhaps
having it look like a fence around that area might break up that. It's just, there's a lot of railing back there when you look at those two elevations.
Well, that railing on that,
Yeah, it's because
on
of
that
that
elevation is
basement,
much
basement walkout.
too much.
So if that were fence, I'm not suggesting that that's what everybody else is gonna think, but I'm just saying, if there's a concern that there's a lot of railing back there, and the cutting back the deck to the proper percentages doesn't make a difference, making that like a picket fence with a cap
Yeah.
will accomplish what you
Can do
need for your 3-foot height for the building code.
There will actually be, there's a pool also, and that's where the front part of the railing will be continue with the picket fence actually, so
Okay.
we can continue also into the building. that way, Yeah.
It might make it easier to
Will
get
be,
to prove.
yeah.
Okay, the,
Are you sure you know what you're talking about there?
Yeah. Does anyone else have a similar feeling, or I don't want them to change it if no one.
No, the
No, I
first
think
floor
I'll share
is
your
not as
concern.
much of a concern because of the cover. It's the second floor is grossly oversized and oh, I see, it's a walk down. Are you sure you're gonna make the overall height with Marcus? Cause you have a 30-foot house and then this big walkout that's more than 6 feet away from the structure.
right, and I'm not sure.
I don't think that, you're gonna run into a little problem there with him, I think.
And
But
To
the,
save
I mean, the
some
eave
time.
is,
On overall height?
there is no gable on that side, so.
It doesn't
it should-
matter, your whole facade is gonna be grossly over 30 feet.
yeah, and it's only on one.
It's 38 almost.
What, isn't that from average
So
grade?
there's the calculation
No.
about
It should be from the average grade, yeah.
where
But we are
finished grade
close.
out to 6 feet from the face of the building. So that allows for window wells to be excluded. But this is a huge open space down below, like a sunken patio. That's
Gotcha.
not up to us, it's up
No,
to
no, I gotcha.
them
Yeah,
Yeah, I
dealing
will have
with.
to, I'll
Thanks
have
for
to double check that,
Yeah.
so we are not over.
The windows were mentioned, the B windows to A windows, the mulled windows up on the second floor.
They're a peculiar shape from the rest of the Bs.
Yeah.
The smaller Bs are a good, like, vertical proportion, but your ganged units there seem wider.
And they need to be separated. You have all this shingling on outside the windows. You need to separate the
what I was
windows and
exactly-
move them out so that they fill the space.
That's what I was talking about, we didn't want to fill the space because we had, that's
Internal.
a kitchen, yeah, and we wanted to
But
have
you,
wall space available.
they still need to change shape a little
We
bit.
can, yeah, we can make it narrower.
What is the detail that you have going across in the gable? Is that a barge board? Is it a shingle variation? What is
No,
that?
it's a regular 1x8 trim with the shadow.
Trim?
Yeah. it's a
No, the one going across?
trim. The one across, it's a piece of trim, like 1x, I'm not sure height, 1x6.
And it's
Which
away
is-
from the face of the structure, or it's?
It's right on the wall.
Oh.
It's flat with the
Well-
wall, almost like a frieze.
Is it under
Being
the
flush
freeze?
with the
Like
No,
the
no,
freeze that
it's
runs
flush
down?
with the frieze, flush.
It's
It,
flush, okay.
One-
this piece
one plane.
right here.
Yeah, that's the piece I was just curious if it's all flush with the freeze, or
Yeah.
is it where the shingles are gonna be, it's gonna be on the plywood and then it should be above it, below it, and the freeze will be proud of it, so, you know, because it's gonna be a
Yeah.
different look.
I think that should be eliminated myself.
And the windows up there, just to save you some time, are they fixed? Are all the,
The ones up there, they're fixed, yeah.
okay,
Okay.
And since we're free for all in it, I would just suggest, I like that the chimney is simple, but I would suggest a simple corbel at the top, maybe just one layer or something.
It's kind of big for the front of the house. It
Yeah.
needs to come in a little bit. It's narrow side to side and it's wide front.
and I think the trim around the front door needs to be beefed up a little bit, pull those windows away from it and throw in some side things so it is your front door, not
And
Yeah.
the last thing on the front door, I would just suggest, I mean, you got these beautiful 4-light windows. I know they're double hung, but if you went with a 4-light glass door as opposed to the one you're showing,
You can't have a glass.
Yeah.
he has a 6-light
He
showing.
means
Oh, up
doing-
there.
Just, it would, I just,
Tie in better.
I don't feel strongly about it, I'm just mentioning it.
No, I get what you
But
mean.
he wants those to be a 4-light.
Because
rather
of
than
the
a
2
6.
over 2s,
Yeah.
yeah.
It just looks,
Get
there's
rid of
no
this.
6 anything anywhere on the structure that I
And-
see.
Do the trim around the front door heavier,
Yeah,
and
that would look
the
good.
height of the building on the, whatever it is, the south elevation, it's got to-
You'll have to double check that.
The
house,
west.
make sure it will be.
has to be changed, it can't be
What's that?
38 feet. What about you?
Val, can you remind me of the formula for the second floor decking?
So you take the lineal,
Mm-hmm.
the perimeter of the building,
Mhm.
and multiply it by 30%, and that's the amount of decking you can have on the second floor.
Okay, so I would encourage you to do that and modify your design if you're over that percentage. And then in addition, I know the board has already kind of expressed its concern about the basement sunken, the basement walkout. It is closer to Wigwam Road than really, it's the closest element to this building to Wigwam Road. And so I would either like to see it relocated to the back of the building or reduced a lot in size.
The walkout.
Yes.
All right, is there anything else? This is just a... we can-
I appreciate the simplicity of the structure, so there is something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I don't
there's a
want
lot
to
of good
say there
here.
isn't. And I appreciate that you don't have corner boards. Is the trim white?
Natural.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The whole thing
For the
natural
whole
for
thing?
weather?
So the deck and all that?
The sash
Yeah.
is Essex green.
Nice.
Sash is just a green.
Nice.
Yeah.
Front door, same?
Front
Or is Essex green.
door either is
Front door is Essex green? Okay.
Well, it says main door is natural to weather and doors are Essex green.
yeah.
Yeah. I think those are our basic concerns. Let's review. The chimney
Yep.
size and
Detail.
form, detail.
Yeah.
Getting rid of these trim
Board.
in the gable.
On both the front and the back.
Well, the back, it's cut off by
And we won't get rid of it
the
on-
roof. It's just extraordinarily wide on the front facade. It should be, I think, narrower. Is there a reason why it's so wide?
How many flues do you have in there?
It actually ended up, we started with 2 fireplaces on first, second floor, so 2 floors, and we ended up having only 1. And actually, it will be only a gas fireplace at the end, so we don't really need that size.
Oh.
But
Okay,
we-
so
reduce
it's not,
reduce that.
it's not updated.
Mhm.
And the
according to
two
what we
B
changed.
windows on either side of the front door would be better as A's. And the front door, 4 with lights
Yeah.
and extra trim.
And the triple Bs in the kitchen, more like the other Bs. Not,
Mhm.
Yeah,
not
those,
necessarily space, but the size.
Yeah,
Right.
Probably narrower.
Yeah.
see what you can move around.
And then the overall deck is a concern.
You know what the formula is now?
I know, yeah.
Good.
And then, again, it doesn't really affect us except how it looks. This pit needs
Yeah.
to be
Addressed.
looked at.
Double check that.
Yeah.
I don't think we can relocate it really, but I'm sure we can work somehow on reducing the size. Maybe bring it a little bit more.
And I didn't notice that was an interesting call on your part. That.
It is facing the Wigwam Road, but there is actually a garage, proposed garage, which is actually blocking the.
Yeah, but that's not blocking that.
Well, it is behind a fence, though.
Partially.
And the
It is
garage
behind the fence, yeah.
in front of the building.
I think you're gonna find you're not gonna be able to do that. You're gonna have to find another solution for that, but
Well, you have
Yeah.
some to.
Yeah, you got some work to do with it,
some-
but
exactly. So shall we hold for some revisions?
Hold for
Yes,
some
it-
revisions.
And shall we have the other two buildings tracked with this? Or
Yeah,
do you want
prob-
to look at it now?
Can we look at the garage? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, we'll
Let's look at the garage
quickly.
and the pool contract.
Okay.
So we've got to vote on that, unanimous consent.
Yeah.
Yep, new dwelling, we're holding for revisions.
Aye.
Aye. We are having the pool cabana track with the main building. All
Aye.
those in favor?
Aye.
And we are reviewing quickly the garage studio.
Right. I think for me, initially, the concern is that this is way closer to the street and it looks like it's quite tall. It's 23.5.
Yeah, I mean it's
It should,
It's
I
not-
don't
I
know,
don't think it's
for
too
me,
big. Well,
I'd like to see
yeah.
it,
In back here.
I think you might benefit from bringing some pictures of what's going on in the neighborhood that might be similar.
yeah.
That the garage is in front
Yeah.
of the main
can
building.
You
try
know,
to find some. Yeah.
I think there's a few of them,
Yeah.
but
It
it
looks
might give us some
tall, doesn't it?
context.
Good
Yeah.
suggestion.
Okay.
It's simple enough.
Yeah,
And
shape's
try
nice.
to-
Yeah,
try
I
to be
appreciate the
simple-
fact that
simple, make
the
it too
deck
big,
and the exterior stairs are located at the rear. That's nice. You're hiding it behind the buildings. So
The deck
can't be
is
seen
again
from the
too far
street.
out.
It's 8 feet out, remember
10.
that?
10.
It's 10 right there.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, you are allowed 8 feet out from the building, not 10.
So it's a
Right.
little bigger than it can be.
Yes.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
just needs to be brought in by
So
2
check
feet.
your
Yeah.
form
So-
and
Okay.
punch it in.
What I was just saying was, remember that when you start drawing.
I was. Yeah. I mean I was going for it.
It doesn't change in different locations.
I guess the only other question I have is the stairwell railing is enclosed, which I have absolutely no concern about. But are you gonna be is there gonna be a natural or a painted cap or something over the top of that?
Yeah, there'll be a cap, natural,
Okay, and what's the width of that stair?
3 feet.
Okay, just be aware that the building department is requiring the 3-foot clear on the railing, and they
Yeah.
want a handle, like a Brosco 2-inch.
Yeah.
Just check your dimension there, so you don't run into a
Yeah.
problem with having to come back to us if
Yeah,
it's approved.
Of course, yeah.
So just a suggestion.
You got,
The only other thing I have is that the windows on, so the north is what faces the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
it's,
have 3 casement windows facing the road on the second floor.
that's not going to fly, I don't think. Can you make them double hung?
And that's closer to
I'll
the
never get
road.
that by John. What's the internal consideration there? Is there
It can be.
bedroom space or
No,
something?
yeah, it's pretty much open space, like a studio. So.
Is there a
Should be
shingle
able to
flare on the
open.
house?
Yeah.
Those can be
Windows.
changed.
I
As
think that's
easy as
weird.
There is a.
I just couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
I think that side has a bathroom, which is one of the reasons why we try to go a little higher.
I'd like to see
we can-
those
I
be
think we
double
can change
hung
them.
if possible and actually a little longer if possible.
Yeah, I think it should be
They
no problem
seem a
to
little
change.
stubby.
Yeah, I would support that.
Yeah,
For the
as
height
would
of-
I.
For the height
There's
of
a
the
lot of
building.
wall space in there. And,
Right.
and the longer windows would help fill that in a little.
Yeah.
Yep.
The same thing perhaps with those bees down there, you've got a lot of footage between.
And if it necessitates on the northwest making a change there, I wouldn't be adverse to it. On the northwest elevation, having the C's there doesn't bother me either, but if you're gonna change them,
You know what it is? It's the C's couched inside a dormer that is the
Yeah, it's-
concern for me. They just don't.
it doesn't read right.
Right.
I gotcha. And are there gonna be
Yeah,
corner
they can-
boards on the dormers?
No,
No, okay, to match the rest of the structure that'll
Yeah.
be woven?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We can change that to double hung. Should be no problem.
Otherwise, it's okay.
We're at 23 feet,
Hmm.
so that's good. It comes in a foot below requirement. but think of your location, because we try not to have the garage in front of the main building, particularly if you have other,
Well, or
We're trying to push
so
it to
much
the-
forward, if that came back,
We're trying to
And
push it
it-
to the side, of course, and
it,
what is this?
that's that down cellar walkway. If it
yeah, we have a little bit more space probably. We can
came
push
back,
it
you know,
closer,
in
yeah.
here, it'd be better.
On your walkway down, you have two lines going on either side of your staircase. What do those represent?
Which two lines?
Come and show me.
I think this is railing or
It's
fence.
a railing, yeah.
And what's, is
Ah,
that?
those lines, it's
terrace
like a
down?
terrace, yeah,
It's
terrace.
it's like a terraced sunken patio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, you know, if this
Right
wasn't
here.
so big, then this could just tuck right in there and stay within the thing, stay
Yeah.
within your
Or it-
sideline.
Yeah.
These are the stairs up.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are the ones that
Stairs
come from.
down.
No,
the-
stairs down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you can go up downstairs.
Right.
It,
The other thing, if you were able to relocate the garage over here, and it was allowable to have a larger sunken terrace here, and deemed appropriate, the garage would block it.
that's right.
So you would have a little bit more flexibility to have a more enhanced program there.
And it will also help
If this were here,
protect
And
the
this
pool
could
were-
also
I
come
totally
over
support
here
it.
somewhere.
then there would be more
Right, and it would
flexibility
stop
because
you
it's hidden from the road
coming in
by the garage.
just seeing that pool.
But
This
now,
pool,
it's really not.
Yeah,
maybe
especially now that I've cleared it.
whatever your proposal
Yeah,
is
I'm with you.
to Wigwam Road is not got a lot of growth on it, and so we want to think of the view of seeing the pool from other parts of Wigwam Road. Just
The pool will be completely behind all this fence, and there will be some planted, some rose vegetation, some.
on the side here.
Yeah. all the way
Okay.
around. There also will be a fence around, so it will be from these two sides will be blocked, and there will be cabana, which will be, and the
And
fence
this
will
is
be blocking the
conservation,
view.
so that's considered public
That's it.
space. You can see
So remember
walking
that.
Yeah.
through here.
Yeah.
And keep your pool fence small, don't
That's why, yeah,
Don't
so
go
you
way
try
over
to
here.
block it with the lines.
Okay,
that
Guys, what's this right here?
that's a shower.
outdoor
Outdoor
shower.
shower.
It's more like a storage door
The
upstairs.
store-
It's more button doors.
Yeah, because it's just closed in.
Closed, yeah, closed door.
Underneath the stairway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I motion to hold for some revisions on this as well.
Aye.
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 All right, thank you for coming, thank you for waiting.
Are there options to reduce the height of that?
Oh, yeah, what was the other?
No,
No.
it actually comes under. We usually try to keep everything over a garage to 24 feet, and they actually are under that. It's more the location, because it's so proud of the house. I think that needs to be looked at.
And that's all natural to weather, also
Yeah,
garage doors,
Like same
which
as
is
the main house.
appreciated.
yeah.
Shall we just quickly hit the pool cabana while we're here and this is all open and we're all,
I don't think we're ready, we want to see where he's gonna put the garage and stuff.
You're
Okay.
running out of time.
Okay,
Right,
I
and
just-
Yeah,
we've made a motion to
I'm
have a
already
track
here
with the
45
house.
minutes longer than I wanted to be.
Motion to have that track
okay.
number 24.
Yeah.
Pool and cabana to track,
easier.
please.
The house.
Thank you.
Thank
Terry,
you.
we
Thank
did
you.
do that, right? We
Yes,
made
we did.
a motion to, yeah,
We'll
to track.
ban it already when motion to track.
And we made a motion to hold the cabana.
Yeah, we did
That's
that.
the one that was held to track.
Okay,
And-
sorry.
and
Are
the
we- have we-
garage was
Where is
removed,
my
and you
coat
made
and my
motions on
purse?
the rest of
It's
it.
right there.
For Tuesday.
Somebody's
So
keeping
all
track.
there is, whatever.
Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.